lead.
Right shot, diving catch. Holy smokes, what a play by Crawford.
Home to 6-foot salmon that don't swim, they sprint. And even home to hot dogs that fall from heaven. Hallelujah.
Everybody likes free food just falling from the sky.
Oh, yeah. And it's also home to 47,000 screaming faithful.
We have a sellout crowd. I mean, the folks are up there in the rafters.
T-Mobile Park is our house. Mariners fans make it our home. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The next Mariners homestand gets started with 3 straight value games. Don't miss out on tickets starting at just $10 against the Padres September 10th and 11th and the Rangers September 12th. Go to Mariners.com to lock in your seats and check out all the matchups and festivities coming to T-Mobile Park during the final stretch of the regular season.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, save 10% on Georgia Pacific vinyl siding panels. Plus, save an additional 20% when you buy in bulk. And get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 9/4. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
After extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers are ending another holdout. The team will reportedly finalize a new deal with left tackle Trent Williams. Williams has no more guaranteed money on his deal, though he does have 3 years remaining. As a result, he'd sat out all of training camp, no longer. That makes Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick the last remaining holdout in the league. Reddick hasn't stepped foot in the Jets facility since being acquired via trade. The Jets and 49ers face off for Monday Night Football on September 9th.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Excited to be back with you guys on a Tuesday. Dugout coming your way at 1 p.m. I'm going to need to remind myself many, many times that it's not Monday. But, Bump, did you have a lovely Labor Day weekend?
It was interesting. I had a hot one. I was in Corvallis for the Oregon State-Idaho State game. Good game early. Idaho State, man, way to hang in there and make it interesting. It was 95 degrees, 95 to 98 in Corvallis, and unless you were staying at a hotel, there was no AC. They don't believe in air conditioning in Corvallis for some reason. But the game was cool. The travel was cool. And what I do yesterday, just play some golf with the boys and hung out. How was your weekend?
It was good. I don't think that if you are east of a mountain range / in Oregon, you cannot believe in air conditioning. Like, there's a very specific pocket of the country, specifically in the Pacific Northwest, where you can't have AC. Even then, it's annoying. But I say that because I was in Washington State, though. Me and Derek and a bunch of friends went over to Leavenworth for like this getaway cabin
it was hot out
retreat.
there, wasn't it?
Yes, it was in the 90s there. And I was like, what is this? The cabin we were in, though, had AC. So.
You did a retreat? Is that what you say? You guys did a couples retreat?
No. It wasn't a couples retreat. I'm calling it a retreat because it was just a very relaxing. It was like a 12-person cabin, like this giant cabin. They had like a bunch of games out there. So I'm calling it a retreat because we weren't like hitting up the town bar hopping. Like it was way far from town. So we were just like, we brought a bunch of coolers and played games and chilled. So that's my version of a retreat.
Too many people for me.
Is you couldn't bar hop.
In one spot, too many people.
Well, it was pretty big though. You were able to like get away from people. Only the terrifying thing was, I don't know. I'm assuming that bears exist in the wild in Washington State.
They definitely do.
We accidentally left some hot dogs on the grill outside. Next morning, knocked over.
Mm-hmm.
What does that? What animal does that? Not a deer.
Bears.
Not a deer. Bears.
Yep.
I swear to God.
Cougars. There's cougs out there, too.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, did someone get drunk? And then I thought, no. A bear knocked this over.
A bear.
They out here.
They out there.
It was
sure.
terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it was really, really fun. Leavenworth is great. I felt like I was inside of a snow globe, even though it wasn't snowing. It was it was just the vibes. The vibes were right. I did keep an eye, obviously, on these Mariners games, as I'm sure you did. And it was very disappointing. It was really upsetting.
Yeah, it was, man. I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch every single at-bat because, I'm a father and I was working. I got things to do, but I'm checking in constantly. I'm even texting I'm actually driving, where were we at? On Monday or Sunday, we went to Topgolf, and I'm having my wife, check the scores as I'm driving and stuff. Like, babe, fill me in. And, it's all the same stuff, Stacey. It's all the same stuff. Now, these guys are 5-5 under Wilson. That's not 54%. We were promised 54%.
You promised.
During this Dan Wilson era, when they've scored 4 or more runs, they've won the ball games, right? That sounds familiar. Nothing's really changed there. You're on a losing streak. We've seen that before. We've seen that. You got walked off twice in 3 games. That's familiar. You got dominated by a 12-year-old, it seemed like, on the mound. The Angels, our guy, Caden Dana, he's not 12, he's 20. He's the youngest pitcher in Angels history to win his first start. And then you blew a 4-1 lead. So it's a lot of the same stuff, Stacey. And I know it's only 10 games in the Dan Wilson era. It takes me 35 to 40 games, as I think it does most people, to kind of figure out who a team is. But I'm looking at 10 games and I'm saying, yeah, it's the same thing. So I'm just disappointed, and I'm seeing the Astros, what is a 6-game lead right now. The deeper we get into this thing, it's almost over. Hope is slowly fading away for your boy over here when it comes to these Mariners.
So when we were, very related note, when we were at the start of what I'm going to continue to call the retreat, which someone said maybe a raccoon tipped the barbecue over.
Maybe raccoon.
No.
You don't like that story?
Hang on. No, it was not a raccoon. This barbecue is like 6 feet tall.
Raccoons are strong though. They can do that.
I don't think a raccoon did this. I know they have people hands, so they could turn things. If it would have been someone turned the propane on, I would have been like, a raccoon might have done that.
Family of raccoons?
Maybe they'd have to all work together.
They roll like 3 deep minimum.
Well, and I know that they're really smart, so they could have done that. But I think that it would have been more likely that a raccoon opened up the grill and took them. A bear's dumb. A bear's just gonna go out and body this grill. All
right, we're getting deep in this. What kind of grill was it? Was it like a heavy grill?
A heavy grill. It had a giant thing of propane with a hose attached to it. The grill was very large.
Right.
I was not, because it was knocked over, we had to wait until either Derek or Katie's boyfriend Gavin were awake to lift it up. We couldn't lift it.
Okay.
So that's how big the grill is.
All right, so it's heavy. Okay.
And I know I'm small, but
context is important, because if it was just one of those standard $30 grills, raccoons can easily knock that over.
Sure.
A heavy duty?
No, this was a bear did this.
And y'all didn't hear the thing get knocked over? I would have been up quick.
We had a great time on this trip.
Are you saying you weren't in any state to go pick it back up?
No, I'm not saying anything about anything or anyone. I'm saying
no snitch.
Yeah. I'm saying I don't think anyone heard this grill get knocked over. No. Okay. So, anyways, back to this team. But we were all watching the game, and I want to say this was pretty early on, the first night that we were there, and the Mariners were doing well, and Katie turned to me and she goes, maybe Dan Wilson actually does help. And I said, you know what, Katie? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and Dan Wilson comes in and does a great job, and Scott was the problem. Then today rolled around,
Mm-hmm.
and I continued to watch all these games and watched everything unfold. I looked at these numbers that you sent in your email bump, and I thought, you know what? I'm rooting for Dan Wilson because I like Dan Wilson,
Yeah.
and it would be a really cool story. And I'm always rooting to make the playoffs because making the playoffs are really fun. I've learned that very recently and only once. But this is not a team that had a service problem per se. That's not to say that service wasn't part of a problem. You're a manager whose team blew a 10-game lead, point blank period. You're part of the problem. But this is a much deeper issue, and that has become very clear.
If you don't think, and I think most people thought it was deeper than just service, but I also think that people were looking for something to ignite this team. And typically in these situations, the manager is the first one to go. So even though I didn't agree with it, I understood what was happening. Maybe Dan can come in and do something with this team, motivate them differently. Maybe Edgar can come in and be the hitter whisperer and whisper sweet nothings into these guys' ears and have them perform. But it's just not going down. So I think this confirms that it's deeper than just getting rid of service. And there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, bring back Dan, old school Mariners, back to 95.
Refuse to lose.
And Edgar and all that stuff. And I go, yeah, I think these dudes are qualified for the job.
Yeah.
And I think that if you give them an off season to kind of really get their hands on the culture and the philosophy, there can be major change. But to expect major change this quickly, that's just not baseball, man. So something had to be done. They did it. Dan has a tough task on his hand, but I think, like I mentioned, he's in a win-win. If they don't make the playoffs, it's not fine, but as far as his job security, it's fine because he has an offseason to kind of build this thing and make it his. But it's just there's a lot, man. I was listening to the morning show. We're talking everything now. We're talking bullpen. We're talking starters slipping up a little bit. We're talking batter's eye. We're talking the veterans coming in and not contributing the way that we wanted to. We're begging for Julio. Every angle has been touched with this team. So when we're talking about so many things, which you should be talking about when you're talking about a team that isn't performing, it lets you know how complicated the situation is.
I agree. And a complicated situation can have a lot of causes for that complication, right? I mean, when you are a team that makes the playoffs once in 23 years, it's more than a one-person problem. Jeff Passan was on with Brock and Salk this morning and had this to say.
You know, you go to the playoffs, and then you have a year where you miss it by a game, and you know how precious every season is, particularly when you have the pitching that you do. And so you can't leave that sort of thing up to chance. You can't 54% this sucker. You just can't. And so 2 years in a row now of having the same thing happen, it's completely unacceptable. And if the only person who's paying the price for that is Scott Service, I'm not sure what that says about the organization.
It says that people aren't willing to hold themselves accountable.
Yeah, it says that the people with the power are comfortable with the approach, that they're okay, that something is happening with this approach, and I think we tend to lean to the business side. They're in the green. The Mariners are operating in the green when it comes to profit loss. They're willing to sacrifice some performance as long as the business is running and tickets are being sold and merchandise is being sold. That's what it feels like, at least. I don't know for sure, but that's what it feels like because we've yet to see drastic change. It's always tough when you're with an organization and they're leaning on what they did a couple years ago. Well, a couple years ago, man, we got Castillo. Man, we got Robbie Ray. Man, what y'all talking about? We do this. No,
it's a great time.
It's every single year you got to do it. Now let's give them some credit, though, Stacey. They did make a move at the trade deadline. They did get Randy. That was the biggest bet that was moved, right?
Yep.
Robles. They signed Robles. Robles looks like that's been a great investment so far. And they got him for the cheap. Not like they're paying him a whole bunch of money for the next few years. But then Julio's not performing. Then you're not good on the road. All these other situations just kind of overshadow the good that's happened. So we're going to get on this team. We got to be honest about how we feel in their performance. There have been some moves made that helped this team. It's just didn't help them enough. When you start where you start from, and the Mariners are a team that need a lot of things to happen. They got to stay healthy. Guys got to overperform. Julio cannot go through any type of slump. Cal has to continue to be the guy. When you're asking for so many things to be consistent at a high level, it's tough when you feel like you just don't have the arsenal to compete with these other teams.
It's so weird. Speaking of competing with other teams, there are teams that are spending less and still winning. Now, granted, some of those teams, like the Baltimore Orioles, lost 100 games in consecutive seasons when were able to rack up really high draft picks. It's the same approach the Houston Astros took, where it's like, well, the Mariners were never as bad as Houston or Baltimore were at their very worst, and that draft model no longer exists because the league wants to de-incentivize teams from trying to tank that often by not allowing them to get consecutive number one overall picks based on losing seasons. So they were able to be the worst, to get the best, capitalize on those picks. Like, those picks actually worked out. And then, at least when it came to the Astros, they then padded that roster by adding players in free agency. Yeah. The point that I'm making is that teams that have spent less or taken other approaches did so with some context. Context was important. But that there is something that makes me think that, in addition to it being a combination of I would love for this team to spend more, it's almost like the rubric that they're using, the model that they're using, the approach they're using, like there's some kind of flaw with it. And I don't know what it is. It's above my pay grade. That's a Jerry and Justin know more about baseball than I ever will. But it sure feels like there's something with the plan that is flawed.
Yeah, and that plan's been in place for about, 8-9 years now. This essentially, the squad has been together, or the people upstairs have been together. Service is obviously not employed with this team anymore. But when you haven't had success at, and even just average level, right? Something's wrong with this process. It could be from the scouting department to the ownership to management. I mean, there's so many people involved in this whole thing. It's hard just to point at one person or one thing or a couple of things. But those are the people who are in the forefront, who are making the decisions, who are putting out the message at the end of the season, checking in mid-season, post-season. They're going to have their philosophies and their messages there. So those are the people that we lean on naturally, and I think you should, because those are the people getting paid the big bucks to stand in front of the public and take all the arrows and stuff that's being thrown at them. So it's tough, man. I just hope that what's the exit interview like? You know, what's the postseason situation like? Is everyone sitting down and being held accountable and being asked the right questions? Now, being held accountable doesn't mean you just scold somebody and you go after them. You ask a simple question. Well, why this? Well, why that? How are we going to fix this? How are we going to fix that? It seems like every single year, whoever is in charge of making these major decisions does a great job of conveying or instilling confidence in ownership and in their plan to make this thing right. But it hasn't gotten right in a very long time.
Exactly. Now, that's about the front office, where Jeff says, look, players are the biggest part of Mariners' failure. Like, Jerry Dipoto ultimately, nor could Scott Service pick up a bat and swing for Mitch Garver. Like, players are ultimately the biggest part of the Mariners' failure right now. But he says that does not absolve the front office from their model getting this wrong in recent years. He also says part of this is on ownership.
But I'm also going to look at John Stanton and Chris Larson. Like, they're the ones who own this team. They are ultimately the ones who choose where this team goes and what direction that is. And when you are putting limits on the team to the extent that they have, of course you're going to wind up in a situation like this where if things don't go exactly as they needed to, it's going to go too far sideways to recover. And I'd like to believe that that's a lesson that ownership would have learned in recent seasons, particularly last year. Maybe
it's not. Or maybe it's a lesson that they've learned now that's just too little too late. I have no idea. But we're going to continue this conversation bump at 10:30, so in 15 minutes. Jeff lays out a little more of what he thinks is the problem, and then specifically what he would do to fix the Mariners. I'm curious as to, Bump, whether or not you would make any of the moves that he suggests. The Seattle Seahawks home opener is this weekend. Today is the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks take on the Denver Broncos in person for Week 1. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, simply text the word APP, A-P-P, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Seahawks announced they will be wearing their 90s throwbacks on Sunday's opener against the Broncos. What's the real headline?
Let's hope they also choose to throw it back to 2013 against the Broncos.
That's right.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
You yourself said let them go.
Well, yeah.
Let it go, Stacey.
In this case, though, I love a really dominant. Okay. Can I say two things? Can I say two things? Okay. So I did say this, and I think I said it off air. I said, if anyone tries to make yet another Legion of Boom play on trying to name the defense, my head will physically and literally explode. I am so tired of people being like, okay, let's do that. Let it go. Come up with something new, or don't come up with anything and let them do it. Let that go. However, that Super Bowl was dope.
That was pretty awesome.
That was a great Super Bowl, and I would love to see a repeat thrashing of the Broncos.
Now, that would be nice. I mean, you're facing a rookie quarterback. Granted, I think Bo Nix had the best preseason of all rookie quarterbacks this year, but he also got the most reps, right? Yeah. Jaden Downs didn't play that much. Caleb didn't, but he looked great. Get them all shaken up, man. Blitz the heck out of him. Show him all the stunts in the world. Mix this young man up. But this is a great PR move. You go out there and you wear the cleanest jerseys in football. And I guess I do have some bias, obviously. But when I look at all the other throwbacks across the league, there is nothing touching these uniforms. It's going to be beautiful. Go ahead and get her done. But I'm with you. Let's take it back to 2013 and get that W.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Trent Williams and the 49ers look to have reached an agreement on a rework deal. The 11-time Pro Bowl tackle held out all of training camp and the preseason. What's the real headline?
Proof that throwing a tantrum really does work. As long as you're a future Hall of Famer. Very specific group of people. One caveat is that you can throw a tantrum, but you have to be one of the very best offensive linemen in football.
Yeah, and Trent, I mean, goodness gracious, you line him up at tight end, he can play fullback, he gets to that second level. I've never seen a man his size move the way that he does.
Yeah.
I would love to meet his parents and just ask questions about him dominating in boys and girls basketball back in the day.
I thought it was going to be asked questions. How'd you guys get so tall?
Yeah, well, that's one thing I do. Obviously, I'm in the training business with my business, and whenever I see a kid, I go, let me see his parents. I just want to see what the potential of this kid is as far as his size. So I guarantee you his parents are some big people. But he's got to have some crazy stories growing up about his athleticism. Good for the Niners, bad for the league. They got their guy, but there's no way they were not going to get this deal done.
God, I really should have known that I wasn't going to be a supreme athlete. Like, my dad was a 5'7" Italian bartender, and my mom is 5'4" and works for an airline. Like, I should have known that I wasn't going to be a gold medalist. You know what I mean? Like, I could have leaned into gymnastics, but
I was gonna say,
I'm too afraid of falling. Like,
you got the gymnastics build.
I've got a little, like I could have done that, but I'm afraid of activity. I'm afraid
being airborne.
I'm afraid of injuries. I used to pretend to be shorter so I wouldn't have to ride roller coasters. So gymnastics.
Wow. Hold on.
Most kids want to be tall enough to ride it.
I'm so risk averse that I remember a school field trip when we went to Family Fun Center or something, and there was this like little tiny baby roller coaster, and I was just at the height limit, and instead of standing up as tall as I could to be like, I can go, I kind of slouched just a little bit, and I was like, oh, God, oh man, rats. I know who I am. Know who you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. Know who you are.
Yeah, I appreciate
I'm different now. I went on ATVs in Boise.
Yeah, and you'll never do it again.
Yeah, but I did it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That ATV, I could imagine. It's so difficult for you to control. That thing is so big.
It is horrifying.
It's heavy.
I'll say this too. If I was brave enough to go on ATVs on the side of a mountain in Boise, Mariners ownership, similarly risk averse, can go get one soda.
Go get one.
Go get one. Okay.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Wazoo and Oregon State will not renew their scheduling agreements with the Mountain West for the 2025 football season. That's according to a report from John Canzano. What's the real headline?
A tiny section of millennials that'll get this reference, but INDEPENDENT. Will they know what that means?
We got our own house.
Hey.
We got our own car.
Hey.
Heck yeah. You know what? But what this tells me is that talks with the Big 12 might be heating up. And there might be other conferences entertaining the idea. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they're going to go the Notre Dame route. I don't think that would be smart, honestly. I think teams like Washington State and Oregon State need to be attached to conferences. But good for them. That means they're not settling. That means they're not just like one game in. Okay, I guess we might as well get this done. They got some options. So go ahead and explore your options, Wazoo, OSU. Let's get it.
I used to love that song.
Me too.
INDE. This from ESPN. The lack of agreement stems mostly from the Pac-12's priority to be flexible for more sea changes in college athletics over the next year. Financial factors also played a role. Do you think that do you think that either Oregon State or Washington State or both either have a standing offer from the Big 12 or another conference, or interested in potentially leaving, wanted to leave that open, and then that's
exactly it. That's what I think it is. I think they got some offers out there. It's intriguing. The money sounds good. The exposure sounds good, even though they are getting tons of exposure with CW. They did a great job getting these guys into the homes across America. But yeah, I think they got some offers on the table, and they want to explore them. No pressure to sign now.
Okay, 206. Oh my God, anyone who can't be fun at Disneyland should be institutionalized. Whatever. I wasn't at Disneyland. I was at Family Fun Center in Tukwila. Very
the Disneyland
different.
of South King County.
I think if I was at I've never been to Disneyland. If I was at Disneyland, I'm sure that I would have ridden one roller coaster, realized it was the most fun thing ever, and gone on every ride.
Have you been to Disneyland?
No.
That's your next trip.
Okay. But now that's
you'll
for
like
kids.
Disneyland. Exactly. That's why you'll like it, because there's nothing too crazy at Disneyland. Six Flags, different story.
Well, I have been on a roller coaster before. I'm not like a complete like.
No, I'm just saying like you won't feel the pressure to get on anything too crazy.
They strap you in real good there. They've got the over-the-shoulder harnesses.
I don't want to be like the one adult on a ride with a bunch of kids. I'm different now. I've changed. I can do the big kid things. I can be an adult. You know, I can go on a Six Flags roller coaster.
You are not getting on Goliath. The name alone.
I don't know what that is.
Was it
I'll do that.
Superman? The one that just goes straight up?
No,
okay, wait, what?
It's next to Superman, but it's one of the steepest drops in the West.
I don't like that. The only thing I'm not going to do is at the Washington State Fair, how they have the thing that goes way up,
the extreme
into
screen.
the sky. That's a no for me.
Yeah.
As Randy once said, it's a no for me.
At least that ride's bolted down. There are some rides at the Puyallup Fair that are just like folded out of a truck.
No.
I don't get on rides at the fair.
If you cannot legally drink and you are operating the ride, I don't want to get on that ride. If you are in high school and by yourself,
carnies?
I'm just saying that doesn't make me feel safe at all. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. What Jeff Passan would do to fix the Mariners, coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Mark Schlereth is here. I'm curious what your expectations are of new head coach Mike Macdonald.
I think he's an outstanding, obviously, teacher of the game, just tactician, X's and O's guy. And he's one of those guys that really does a great job with pressure, where pressure is coming from, how to attack a protection. He's really good at that aspect of it. So I would expect that defense to take a step forward just in the pressure aspect.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Hello?
Hey, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. Did you know we've got you fully covered?
I've taken up beekeeping. I'm always covered.
I'm talking the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage at up to half the cost.
Same honey, half the work?
Exactly.
Sweet.
Just call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
Slipknot's 25th anniversary tour. Celebrating 25 years of Slipknot. Saturday, September 7th, White River Amphitheater. With special guests, Knock Loose and Been Dead. Slipknot live. The most explosive live rock band in the world returns. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
Two things you're looking at when shopping for a new car or SUV: choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett. You'll be satisfied with both. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock. And right now, they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? Well, they also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
All right, who spent the weekend crawling around their crawl space or attic? You? No? How odd. Your crawl space and attic can be out of sight and out of mind, but real issues can arise in there, especially in the fall months. And as these temperatures drop, rats, mice, other rodents are looking for a cozy place to make a little home and then reproduce. The result? A smelly mess and destroyed insulation. That's why Crawl Pros goes where you don't want to, certainly where I don't want to. It's Mike Salk here, and it happened to me. Crawl Pros came out to our house, did a free corner-to-corner inspection, identified those problems, told me what needed to be done, and then they fixed it all. In my case, they checked the attic, they found some rat intruders, plus some insulation that was old and not working as well, and they got it all fixed. While the rats are gross and can lead to some health issues, the under insulation, well, that's a cause of high heating bills in the winter. So call Crawl Pros before the cold, wet weather sets in. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for, another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Hey, babe. Yeah, the bank password is moneybags, but a $sign instead of the S.
Mr. Moneybags here is about to get his identity stolen.
Wait, what?
If he used 1Password, he can share logins, credit cards, and other important information with just his wife, not the whole store. Sir, your card's been declined.
Again?
Security is complicated. 1Password isn't. And right now, get a free 2-week trial at onepassword.com. That's 2 free weeks at onepassword.com.
It's Fight Night, live boxing at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. A full evening of boxing action, Saturday, October 19th. Make it a destination event. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this evening of pure excitement, the best in professional boxing. It's Fight Night, October 19th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right. Jeff Passan has his solution for what he would do to fix the Mariners. I don't know if it's like a pure solution, but I happen to like this sound bump. He was on with Brock and Salk earlier this morning. You're not going to love the first one. I'm just going to let you know that.
Yeah.
It's something you really did not want to do at the trade deadline. I completely agreed with you. Mike Salk agreed with you. Mike Salk is still hesitant, which he was during this cut. You are not going to like this first one, but this is what Jeff Passan says in terms of fixing the Mariners, one of the first things he would do.
Number two, I would trade a pitcher at this point. I know it's painful to hear, but I would, whichever pitcher I have the least faith in to stay healthy over the long term, I would move him right now. Because, guys, let's look at what has happened this season, and let's look at what we've learned. We have learned that 5 great starting pitchers will not take you to the playoffs. Not in 2024, not in 2025. They can get you to 500. They can get you to a 10-game lead in the division, but they're not going to get you all the way to the finish line. So at this point, I've been really reticent to do that. I think it's time now.
You did not want to trade one of the starters very specifically at this past trade deadline. How do you feel about the possibility of trading a starter in the offseason to add a bat?
You know, Stacey, when I was younger, I couldn't see myself wearing shorts that did not go beyond my knees. These days, I cannot see myself wearing shorts that are not above my knees. People change, okay? People change, and I've changed. I'm watching this team struggle, and we see they struggle with the same thing. You cannot score enough runs. You're not putting the ball in play consistently. You're not moving runners over. You're not scoring. It's just the same thing. So what do you have to do? You have to change, and I'm willing to change. I'm willing to put up one of these pitchers. I'm not going to say who, because I hate talking about guys' jobs like that, but you got to make this team better. How do you make this team better the quickest? You go to your biggest asset, you take a piece from it, and you get something back in return. So, yes, I didn't like it at first. I didn't want to do it at the trade deadline. I thought maybe if they went out and got a bat or two, that could help this team because of what the pitching staff has been able to do to keep them in the race. But at this point, it's not looking good. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So when the offseason comes around, you got to move different. You can't keep doing the same things. And moving different would be getting rid of one of these arms, or not getting rid, trading one of these arms away.
I know, it just hurts. It really does. You heard him at the beginning of the cut say number 2. I wanted to start with this one because I know it's a stance we'd had on this show, and so I wanted to see if we were open to, okay, well, we weren't going to do it at the deadline because we wanted to try to make the playoffs this year, and that was your best bet. Are we willing to do it in the offseason? So wanted to handle that first. This is actually one of the first things he said, though. Making a run at Juan Soto.
The first thing I tell them, and I know this is never going to happen, the first thing I tell them is if you want your fan base to take you seriously, then make a serious run at Juan Soto. Yeah, and the Mariners have the money to do it. Everyone has the money to do it. But that's the fallacy of what Major League Baseball has sold, is this idea that market size is an impediment to bringing in players of a certain contract level. Juan Soto will make his money back. And not to the extent that Shohei Ohtani would have, but Juan Soto, I do believe, will make his money back.
Thank you, Jeff, for pointing out that we, as a mid-market team and any other market that's a similar size and smaller, always likes to hide behind the idea of, we can't afford that. Mm-hmm. Every team can.
Yeah, you can, especially when you play 80-something home games and you find a way to fill those seats almost every single time. The M's fans are loyal as heck, loyal to a fault sometimes. They are loyal, and they're going to show up. They're going to root. They're going to cheer their team on. The PR team does a great job of these promotions that go on there. Bobblehead, Nye Glizzy's off the third deck. Matt threw a couple of them things out there.
He loved it.
There are things that you do to promote your team, and the Mariners do a great job of doing that because they make it more than just a baseball game. That's what you have to do when you play 81 games at the house. So because they do a great job of that, and they tap into the hearts of the M's fans, they're always going to be profitable. They just are. And because they put a team out there that's just good enough to keep you interested, to give you some hope, to be up 10 games, to only be down 3.5, but now you're down 6. There's this roller coaster that you go through with this team that keeps you invested. If you were a team like the A's, let me tell you my story about the A's.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. I'm on this flight.
I literally grabbed my coffee like popcorn just now.
I'm on this flight to Corvallis. Well, to Eugene, and then drive to Corvallis. This lady sits next to me. She has an athletics shirt on. I go, "Oh, you're an A's fan?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Man, it's messed up what they're doing over there to you guys, man." She goes, "Yeah, born and raised in the Bay. It's tough. You're gonna make me cry right now." She's getting all emotional. I go, "Man." She goes, "Well, where are you from?" I go, "Well, I live in Seattle. We, I support the Mariners." She goes, "Man, if you guys just had our team, you might be in the playoff run." And I go, You right, Craig. You is right. I look at the stats. Their team slash is better than ours. I go, man, why are you so right now? But then I had to tell her, yeah, but I like the Dodgers too. I'm from LA, so I got someone to cheer for. But that's how real this situation is that your pitching is so good that if you just have the Oakland A's lineup, you're probably winning the division right now, and you're looking good. So yeah, that was just a side note. It just CTE blocked one away, and then that jumped back in my head, and I had to share that story. It was depressing.
It's important, though, because leading into this weekend, when I talked about it, I kept saying, oh, well, you've got an opportunity against the Angels and the A's. You have an opportunity against the Angels and the A's. Both offenses have been better than yours this year. So you're looking at two franchises that are well out of the playoff race and have historically struggled, particularly the A's. These are offenses that are slashing better than you.
Yeah.
So it was important context.
And we used to, oh, poor A's. Poor us.
Yeah.
Poor us.
And I'm really glad that Jeff Passan, as part of this interview, apologized for saying, hey, I'm sorry for telling Mariners fans they were wrong to want more, greedy for asking more. You should want more. And for him, Jeff, what you should want is for this club to be in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Don't let you think that because you're Seattle, oh, we're just tiny. We're teeny tiny. You're the 12th biggest market. Be in on the sweepstakes.
I appreciate that about Passan.
Yeah.
He came out and said, I messed that up, because he's got to have a take in that moment, and that was the way he felt.
Okay, so another thing that Jeff talked about is the idea of continuing to add reinforcements when you build with a young core. He recognizes that what the Mariners have tried to do is build the way that the Astros did, which is you draft, develop, get young players in and have a young nucleus. It doesn't end there, though. You need to continue to add complementary pieces in free agency or via trade.
The Cubs knew that they had Chris Bryant and Javier Baez and Kyle Schwarber, and at that time Aubrey Almora was supposed to be good. Anthony Rizzo was there already. They knew they had this whole group of position players, and that they desperately needed starting pitching. And they went out and they spent $155 million to go and get John Lester and bring him in and be the fulcrum of that staff. The Mariners really have not done anything close to that. Julio Rodriguez was there already, so I'm not looking at his contract. But who has been the big free agent complement to the starting pitching that they have right now? Bolton Wong, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Garver, Mitch Haniger. I mean, that's it, right? And I'm as guilty as anyone here of saying, oh, you're spoiled for wanting. No, I was so wrong about that. You're not spoiled for wanting more. You should have wanted more. You should have gotten more. End of story.
I, again, appreciate the apology from Jeff, but also his point about, look, this team's looking at Julio, using him as an end-all, be-all for oh, no, this is the compliment. No. Julio's part of the young pieces that you developed.
Yeah.
That's part of your core. Then who do you add?
Yeah.
And the answer there is a giant question mark.
And then a good side dish, you know what I mean? A good side dish just pop a little bit. And that's what the Mariners are missing. You got the main course, man. That rotation is fire. And you know what? I'm throwing Julio into the main course as well. You need more side dishes. And I understand the approach of this organization. We look at the back of the baseball card all the time and say, if you were just that, this team would be fine. Be who you've been over the course of your career, and you'll be fine. Why aren't they that when they get to Seattle? That's the million-dollar question that we're trying to figure out.
Exactly. We are going to get back to the Mariners a little bit later. We have so much stuff from Jeff Passan's interview and so much stuff to talk about when it comes to what's wrong with the Mariners and how they can try to fix things. Before we do, though, we got to talk Seahawks. We are just a few days out from week 1. It's unbelievable. 2 very fascinating takes on new Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Jeff Passan, good morning.
You win with star players. As much as pitching is important, we know now that it is a flawed philosophy. And the teams that score runs are almost all making the playoffs this year. And the teams that have great ERAs, like the Mariners, the Giants, the Cardinals even, are very hit and miss. So it's not one of those things that it's like there's a direct line from great pitching to the postseason.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Have you tried the dining district at the Bellevue Collection? Grab lunch with friends, meet up for happy hour, and stay for dinner and beyond. You can sample international flavors and local favorites from talented chefs. Try a new cocktail on a rooftop bar or watch the game with friends. And explore the lively nightlife scene. The Dining District at the Bellevue Collection, where your taste adventure begins. Learn more at BellevueCollection.com/dining district.
Uh-oh. Looks like your plumbing just threw a Hail Mary into the wrong end zone. But don't worry, folks. Flowhawks Plumbing and Septic is here to intercept the mess. From busted pipes to clogged drains, we've got the plays that'll turn your plumbing fumble into a winning touchdown. Why risk a penalty? Call Flowhawks, the hometown heroes who will blitz that plumbing problem before it costs you the game. Because when your pipes are on the line, we bring our A game. Talk to the Hawk. 1-800-FLOWHAWK. That's 1-800-FLOHAWK.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? Well, it's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own, and it is more than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff. My streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. And Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through September 21st, you can get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply, requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
My wife and I always loved doing everything together. Jiu-jitsu, kayaking, and intimacy was always on point. It was around my early 30s when I noticed a downward trend. Watching a lot of TV, putting on weight, and just full of self-doubt. I had tried another men's clinic with disappointing results. It's the personalized treatment I receive at Revive Men's Health that has been the complete game changer for me. I've got my energy and motivation back. I'm feeling stronger than I did in my 20s, and it made me a much better husband to my wife.
This is Dr. Andrew Allshouse of Revive Men's Health. If you're always feeling tired or moody, or your sleep is poor, you have low libido, you may be suffering from low testosterone.
Book your free T-check and exam. Call Revive Men's Health Seattle at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for, another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
$1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know, the Seahawks obviously were not a playoff team last year, but a lot of hype around this team heading into week 1. Yeah, maybe not as much as Super Bowl favorites, but you have a brand new head coach, and all eyes are always on a young phenom bump, and that's exactly what Mike Macdonald is. Can he prove it? Can he prove it works not just as defensive coordinator, but as head coach? Let's take a listen to 2 interesting pieces of sound here about expectations for Mike Macdonald. One is from one of his own players, Jaron Reed.
Oh, it's been real good. You know, I say it all the time. I feel like he brought back old school football, something that, you know, it's no shots or anything, but I feel like it's been missed for a little bit. You know, we bring the physicality back, bring the mentality back of playing grown man football for all 4 quarters.
That was really interesting because I would describe Pete Carroll as, outside of being, you know, interested in new approaches, like an old school guy, quite literally an older guy, saying we haven't had that feeling. It's something that's been missed. No shots intended.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, he said the feeling of old school football. When I think of old school football, I think of curse words. I think of yelling. I think of intensity. I think of accountability. I think of laser sharp focus. Pete Carroll had his own way of doing things. Doesn't mean he didn't have his guys sharp. It was just a bit more fluffier with Pete. It was more of come as you are. You know, it's like when people trying to get you to go to church, come as you are. You don't have to get dressed up anymore for church. Wear your hat. You know, it's like they're trying to bring you in a nice, calm way to whereas it feels like McDonald's like you either get your on this bus or you about to get left. And if you don't want to get on, I'll find somebody else that's going to do it. Respectfully, you're a good guy. If you're not getting your job done, we're moving on. And that is refreshing. I think that is needed. And to the core of athletes at the highest level, they want this. They want to, just like kids. Kids want discipline. They're going to throw their tantrums and all that stuff. In reality, kids want discipline. It keeps them in line. It shows clear boundaries. They know what they can and can't do. It's the same thing with a football team, especially when you have so many moving pieces. You need 11 guys on the same page to execute one play successfully, and you're not always going to do it successfully. But how do you increase your chances with that focus, that intensity, that accountability? I love hearing it.
I can already appreciate that it's been a delicate battle for Mike Macdonald. How can I bring discipline and order to a team when I have no resume? Matt Patricia struggled with that with Detroit. How do I come from Bill Belichick's system? And my entire thing is I was with the Patriots and we win all the time, but that's all you had.
Right.
You'd never been head coach and led a team to a Super Bowl and won it all the way Bill did. Bill could come in and be a jerk. Bill could cut off his sleeves and get in players' faces and tell them they were trash. You can't do that. And so Matt struggled in Detroit to win over players in a locker room that was already struggling. Like, what are you? We need someone to believe in.
Here's the thing that helped him out, though, is that he smacked the Seahawks team the year before. Like, dominated these dudes. Gino's talking about this defense. DK's talking about the defense. The defense is talking about his defense. Yes, he didn't have a resume, and yes, he was under the hardball umbrella in college and the NFL. But when you put together a defense that had great personnel, that did some historic things, you have no choice but to sit there and listen. Now, the key is the first time you have their attention, you got to keep it. You got to keep building off of that. So he did a great job of walking into the building, controlling the room, and getting these guys to invest.
Peter Schrager, a voice, obviously, not a player, but NFL Network personality, believes that Mike Macdonald will be Coach of the Year.
My Coach of the Year is a first-year NFL head coach. I'm going up to Seattle. I think Mike Macdonald, the 37-year-old defensive impresario and the mastermind of that Ravens defense a year ago, is going to be the Coach of the Year this year. I'm very high on Seattle. I think they've got a good offense. They bring in a college offensive coordinator from the University of Washington, but I love Macdonald and the young spirit that he brings. Look, the guy after Pete Well, Pete was a legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach. We're not saying anything wrong, but this is a totally different deal. We go from a man in his 70s to a guy in his 30s, and he's got a great young squad. No one is talking Seattle right now.
Peter Schrager is, though. Let me just say, this is also the same guy who had Ken Walker as having a breakout season. I don't know if he's got connections to Seattle and he's just hearing things he really likes, but I certainly like hearing it from him.
He's drinking the Kool-Aid.
You know?
Drinking that Seattle Kool-Aid. Here are a few of the guys who can challenge Mike Macdonald, who are set up to potentially be in that fight when it comes to head coach of the year. You got to go to L.A., and the guy used to work for it. You got Harbaugh down there. These guys were 5-12 last year. You have one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time, or in the league right now, and Justin Herbert. What are you going to do with that? You go to the Commanders. You got Quinn over there. These guys were 4-13 last year. You got a rookie quarterback. What you going to do there? And then Eberflus with Chicago. You got the number 1 pick and all these weapons. What can you do? He is definitely in the mix, though. If he can get Geno to take the next step, that'll be more on Ryan Grubb, but obviously Mike Macdonald has his hands all over that. But if this defense can just be middle of the pack and a whole bunch of stuff, I think that they can and will make the playoffs and maybe win a ball game or two in that thing. So, yeah, there's always going to be a couple coaches out there, and throw Canales out there. If Canales can get the Panthers to the playoffs, which ain't going to happen, he needs something different than Coach of the Year. He needs Coach of the Year with an extra sticker on the certificate or something.
Yeah, like a gift card.
Yeah.
Like Coach of the Year, but then they're like, we're going to send you to DQ to get blizzards.
Hey, you got blizzards for a year.
You know, he needs some kind of special prize, taking
real.
the worst team last year if he takes them to the playoffs. God, I wonder what the single best Curtis, this is a Curtis question. The single best turnaround in an NFL season.
Man.
And did that guy get Coach of the Year?
I think the single best would have been,
because there's never
been
it's the
99 Rams, if I'm not mistaken. They won the Super Bowl, and I think the year prior they were like 3-13. That's quite the turn.
Now I want to dive in here and find some of the best single-season turnarounds for teams. Thankfully, Seattle doesn't have a mountain to climb. They just got to fix this defense and innovate a little bit on offense. So we're already looking ahead to Week 1, guys. I know that Week 1 for the Seahawks is going to be on Sunday. We're still a couple days away, but it's finally here. We are in Week 1 of the NFL season, so let's start talking about it. How do we know the Seahawks are moving in the right direction on Sunday? That's next.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the Denver Broncos September 8th.
Looking to the end zone, fires a dart in the back of the end zone. DK, does he have his feet in it?
Just open the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab at the bottom of the right corner, and enter to win for your chance to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
Do it every day, August 28th through September 3rd. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Holy catfish!
Sure, you can fill up at any gas station, but at any gas station, could you score 2 tickets to a Seahawks game? Sure can't. So head to a 76 or Conoco station and turn your next pit stop into a touchdown. When you buy 8 or more gallons with the Fuel Forward app, you can enter to win 2 Seahawks tickets. Next stop, Lumen Field. See official rules for details. Valid July 29th to December 15th, 2024. Copyright 2024 Phillips 66 Company. All rights reserved.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Did you know about the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program? You can get an $80 benefit card to spend at local farmers markets. Use it to buy seasonal fruits, vegetables, and honey. Just bring your new SFMNP card with you when you shop. When you make a purchase, the grower will scan your card. Then you'll confirm the purchase with your PIN.
You're all set. Enjoy those tomatoes.
Thank you, I will.
Find participating markets, local contacts, and more info at seniorfmnp.com. That's seniorfmnp.com.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. Majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Hey, college students, want to save more on groceries? Every dollar counts, so my friends at Safeway are helping by giving all university, community, and technical college students an extra 5% savings every day. It's called Safeway for You. Sign up is free and easy. Safeway for You members get extra savings with perks, points, and free products. For all the details and terms, visit Safeway.com/FOR and the letter U. That's Safeway.com/for-you.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 9/22/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. So let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
After extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers are ending another holdout. The team will reportedly finalize a new deal with left tackle Trent Williams. Williams has no more guaranteed money on his contract, though did have 3 years remaining. As a result, he'd sat out all of training camp. That makes Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick the last remaining holdout. He hasn't stepped foot in the Jets facility since being acquired via trade while he looks for more money. The Jets and 49ers face off for Monday Night Football on September 9th.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. All right, taking a break from the Mariners here. Instead, looking at the Seahawks. It is week 1 of the NFL season. I cannot believe it's already here. We're going to start getting practice reports. We're going to start having weekly press conferences. We're going to hear from Mike McDonald during the regular season, before the game, and obviously on the Monday following. It's going to be very, very, very exciting to have regular insight into a team where games and moments actually matter. So this is our first look ahead. We will take a deeper dive as the week goes on, every single day getting a little bit closer. We're going to start here on a Tuesday. just with tells. In week 1, when this game happens and we're watching it on Sunday and the fourth quarter wraps up, fingers crossed with a win, how do we know the Seahawks are moving in the right direction?
We got to start with the defense, right?
Right.
We got to look at that box and feel like the big boys in the middle are getting a push. The guys that are responsible for the edge have contained and getting after the quarterback. The linebackers are where they're supposed to be. They're wrapping guys up and driving them to the turf. It has to look so fundamentally sound on defense that we feel like you have a chance. Plays will be made. Bo Nix is going to make a throw. Receivers will make catches. But you never want to look like, what game was that I was watching the other day? I think it was, I was doing prep for the Texas Tech WSU game. And I'm watching this play where Texas Tech, they played Albadine Christian, I believe. They won 52-51 in overtime. But there's this play where this corner walks down on the receiver. His eyes are in the backfield. The ball is snapped, and the receiver just runs right by him. And the DB's like, oh, snaps. And he runs. He's trying to catch up. Granted, he's probably 19 years old, had a lot on his mind. Not a professional football player. But little things like that are clear indications that your team's not prepared and they're not ready to go. So it just has to look like the shell. So when we talk about the secondary, that the shell is on point. If you're too high, they're getting deep in their quarters, or they're covered too. The corners are getting deep. They're forcing things inside. Like, there are little things schematically and fundamentally that I'm going to be looking for. But it's for the average fan. You should feel like someone's in position to make a play every single play. Now, they got to make the play, but at least they are in position to wrap up and drive the ball carrier to the ground.
I am also obviously looking at the defense, and I think I'm going to be looking at something from the preseason to just translate. It's so funny. We spend 3 weeks in the preseason kind of doing this caveat with every single takeaway about how these games don't matter, and yet the observations do. They help inform us about a team that is in the middle of a lot of change. Kind of what that team might look like. I mean, it's all we have right now. We haven't seen a regular season under Mike Macdonald.
Yeah.
Of course, as Seahawks fans and as Seahawks analysts, we're looking at a team with a new head coach going, what feels different? And so far, what's felt different, and this is building on exactly what you've said, is some sure tackling and just a little more discipline and seemingly better communication. So I think what I'm looking at is, are there a lot of breakdowns in communications, and are guys wrapping up with tackling? If they end up allowing 100+ yards rushing from the Broncos, will I be a little surprised? Yeah, because this isn't going to be an exceptionally good rushing team. We'll see if Williams is healthy and looking good. But I won't be looking at very specific numbers so far. It's okay to have a slow start, but I'm going to be looking at other little tells. Does communication look solid? Are guys putting in a lot of effort and looking like they have the fundamentals down? Because it felt like that was missing by the end of Carroll's tenure.
Yeah, it seemed loose out there. It seemed like technique was poor. When you start losing the little things of your little parts of your technique that keep you sound, you're more liable to give up a big play or not make the tackle or not make a play on the football. There are things that you are taught for a reason because it works. I did my pro day, 2008, and 8 weeks I was in Florida. I'm training for the L drill. You go 5 back, around, figure 8, boom, you come back, and I fought the training that I was receiving. I'm like, I feel faster when I do it this way. And I bought it the last week. I finally bought into the technique, and my times are good. I get to my pro day, I abandoned that technique on that drill because my body was like, no, it feels better like this. I still had a good time, but it wasn't what I was doing when I was in Florida. And when you get into a season, those are things that can happen with your technique sometimes. You start to get lazy, or you stop trusting it because you're not having the success that you're having, and you stop doing things a certain way. Coaches teach things a certain way because they believe in it, and it's proven to work. The athlete still has to go out and perform and make the plays, and some guys are better at it than other guys. But there's a reason there is technique for everything that you do. As you get late in the season, maybe you're banged up, you're beat up, you don't like your coach, you're not believing in things anymore, it tends to get a little loose. That's what I saw with that defense last year. It felt like they didn't fully believe what was going on. Now you start doing your own thing. You start going rogue, and that's no good on defense.
This is kind of a random one that I actually hadn't thought about before we started doing this. I had a different couple things, that I was thinking of getting into. But you start talking about, the idea of what you want to improve on and how you respond to that. I'm curious, and I think that an important thing of a step forward will be buy-in. If they lose to the Broncos, I'm going to be disappointed. They really should beat the Broncos, who have a lot of issues as a team outside of a rookie quarterback that actually might be one of their better things heading into this game. What does postgame sound like? Do guys sound bought in? Do they sound proud of what they did? Do they sound like they're on the right path? Do they start pointing fingers? Like, how does Mike Macdonald, how does his hold on the organization and his culture look, sound, feel like in the event of a loss?
After L.
You know, and this isn't me saying I think that'll happen. I'm actually going to predict a Seahawks win as we get further in the week.
It's going to happen at some point during the season.
It's exactly. So if it happens in week 1, what does it sound like? What's that locker room sound like? I'll be in there.
Here's the tricky part.
You'll be doing post game.
Week 1 is just false. Week 1 it lies, and the reason why is because you could win, you could blow the Broncos out. All right, it's the Broncos. You're supposed to do that. You could lose week 1. It's week 1. We got a new coach. Week 1 will give you a little bit, but it'll lie to you at the same time. Because the team you are week 1 is not who you want to be or who you're going to be week 6, 7, 8. All right? It's always going to be a progression. Some teams will progress and get better. Some teams will rise and dip, and injuries and health issues and all that stuff will happen. So week 1 is always tough, man, because there isn't enough damage that has been done to make you think that, all right, this isn't going to work. And then there isn't enough proof in the pudding for you to look at it and say, figure it out. We're good. We're going to win every single game after this. Because this group hasn't been together as far as players and coaches. If the Niners were to go out week 1 and smack the Jets, the Niners can look at each other and say, it's what we do. We've done this for 5 or 6 years. You know, we got Fred Warner still here. We just got Trent. Ayuk is here. You got so many familiar faces with the same coaching staff and a proven record of doing it that you can lean on that and say, facts. Well, this team is going to be a bit different. I'm interested to see how they handle that success or that failure week 1. But I think by the time you get to, who they got, the Dolphins week 4, I think, you get to the
3? I don't know. I'm blanking. Dolphins are
by their 4th week. I think we'll have a better idea. 4th week they have the Lions.
Okay.
So by that time you have played a rookie quarterback, a career backup essentially in Brissett, and then you get tested by one of the most explosive offenses in the game. After those 3 weeks, I think we'll have a clear idea of who this team is and how they handle some of that stuff.
God, I'm so excited for this season. Both you and I said that defense is kind of where we're looking in terms of how we're measuring whether they're moving in the right direction. Let's, for the purposes of just this exercise, extend it to the offense. Where did they really, really struggle offensively last year?
Red zone, third downs.
Exactly. That's where I'm looking. What do you want to see in those situations that you felt like you didn't?
We pointed out last week that the Seahawks ran the ball 70% of the time inside the 10 or the 5 or something like that. And when I see that, it's a high percentage play because of where you are. But I also threw out the numbers of the top quarterbacks in the game who have thrown in that situation, who have 22 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns. So that just shows the willingness to call a lower percentage play, but believe in your guys on the outside to make those plays. I just want to see versatility inside the 10. Sometimes it's simple. Get downhill, run a zone, run a power, get your first down, score a touchdown, you're good to go. But there are going to be times when you get stuffed and that box or the offensive line isn't getting the push that you need or want in that situation. All right, what's your counter? Can you be creative there? And then I just want to see Geno push that ball down the field. You got number 14, you got number 11, and 16 who can all get down the field. I just saw a highlight mashup of Tyler Lockett this morning, and I was reminded, Tyler Lockett is a baller, man. I know he's a baller, but sometimes you need to see the highlights and the catches that he's made and see some numbers that he's put up to remind yourself, look, yes, he's 30 years old or whatnot, 10 years in the game, but he can still get it done. So how are you going to utilize those guys? You got the OG, you got the middle-aged man in DK, then you got the youngster. It's a perfect mix-up. So be better inside the 10 and push the ball down the field. And also, what are you going to do in the backfield with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet?
If DK Metcalf ends up having, 10 receptions, 140 yards, great, fantastic. And if that's how they win the game because he has a pair of touchdowns, great. I'm totally fine with that. One of the things that I've lamented about this offense is it feels like they have more weapons than they use. And you've talked about before that it feels like they have weapons that they don't take advantage of because, very specifically, they don't build on concepts that they roll out. I'd love to see some of that. I'd love to see not just what it looks like in terms of a stat sheet is more targets to go around, but what I'd love to see is utilizing guys in ways where after a game we aren't going, why didn't you why don't you use JSN more on third down? Like, it feels like such, you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you, like, I don't want any more of those conversations. Will it happen? Absolutely. That's just the nature of football. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have moments that leave us scratching our heads, that leave players getting really frustrated. But it feels like they have more weapons than people outside of Seattle even realize.
Yeah, they do. And it's up to Grubb to get as many touches to everyone as possible. You only have 75, 80 plays a game, but you got to make sure DK gets his targets. You got to forces a JSN on a screen or whatnot. You got to find the mismatch with Tyler Lockett. You have to make sure Ken Walker finds his groove. I think Turbo told me one time that he was more of a volume type of runner. Like, he needed to touch it 5, 6, 7 times before he felt it and got going. I feel like Ken Walker is kind of the same thing. How are you going to mix in Zach Charbonnet, 2 different styles? Where is Kenny McIntosh going to show up? I'm begging you. There's so many ways I think this team can be explosive. And that's encouraging to me because I think they can run the football. I think they can utilize the tight ends. And I think that they have one of the best trios in the game and a quarterback that's better than what people are giving them credit for. The real question with the offense is just the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
Is Connor Williams going to play? We know Abe's not going to be there. Lincoln, the OG, how's he looking? Charles Cross. There's just the offensive line is the biggest question there. But I think how do you supplement poor play from the offensive line, which I don't think they're going to get, but it's a possibility. You get that quick game going, and I think I like Grubb's quick game, and I like the way he designs plays to get guys open.
Also, just for the purpose, someone said, the only real issue with the offense was the offensive line. And I disagree with that overall. I think third down was an issue. I think not utilizing weapons was an issue. What I want to see with the offensive line isn't necessarily stellar offensive line play. Stay healthy. Do 5 starters enter and 5 starters leave? Like, that would be, to me, I'm not kidding. To me, that would be a step forward. To me, that would be.
It's impossible to control, though.
I know. It's impossible to control, but that would be something where I could leave a game feeling good. They could truly, kind of struggle as a unit and try to work through things. And if they stayed healthy, I think, whew, that already feels better than last year when you lost Abe Lucas early and Charles Cross early and you started losing guys literally in week 1. I'll also throw in, though, the reason I really want to see them take advantage of those offensive weapons isn't necessarily because those are guys that really struggled and were a problem. It's because it's where you have a lot invested. Noah Fant accounts for $10.5 million. He is the 10th highest paid tight end in football. I know 10 doesn't sound especially impressive, but that's still notable. You have 2 high-paid wide receivers. You have 2 second-round picks invested in running back. And I know we're all thinking Ken Walker's great. Maybe you don't need Zach. You still used a second-round pick on Zach Charbonnet. So these are weapons and resources that you want to take advantage of by virtue of just not losing out on cost you've already spent. So it's not that it's a problem. It's that I'd love to see them take advantage of things they're already invested in.
Yeah, big boys.
You know?
Comes down to them. If they can do their job, I have full confidence that Grubb is going to design the right plays. The receivers will make the plays. The running backs will hit the gas and make those plays. It's all contingent on that offensive line and Grubb's ability to adjust throughout a game. I think that was something that we didn't see a lot of with Shane Waldron, is that those first 10, 15 plays, which are typically scripted in football, the offense will come out and look good. But then when you come out in 12 personnel and they're making adjustments to the field or the boundary side, all right, what do you do? What's your adjustment? And I think that was a sign that Shane Waldron is just a young coordinator. I think he's going to be better in Chicago. Grubb, first-time coordinator in the NFL, but he's played in big games. He's played in a national championship game. He's played in a couple Pac-12 championships. He's been around the block a few times when it comes to pressure situations. The talent gap is the only difference in the NFL to me, is that his offensive line at UW was so much better than everyone else's. He can call Dane or anything and it can have success. Here, the talent gap is so much smaller, and you don't know who's going to be available on that offensive line. That's why your point of just these guys staying healthy is going to be huge for this offense.
The Seattle Seahawks home opener is this weekend. Today is the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks take on the Broncos in person. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and then click on the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, simply text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, for the first time in your life, you were happy to see an ex succeed. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm bitter. I'm petty, man. If we ain't together no more, I ain't checking up on you. I don't want to see you do well. But in this case, I've changed, Stacy. My first ex, I got like 4, and we'll share a couple of them. Cam Ward, so happy to see Cam Ward go down to the swamp and do his thing. 26 of 35, 385, 3 touchdowns. He looked like he belonged, and that was my biggest thing, because if you know Cam Ward's story, he comes from Incarnate Ward. It's a small school. Then he makes his first start in D1 football with Wazoo. 2 years he's developed, and every year we saw him get better. My man chased the bag and got himself on a good Miami team. I'm not mad at him for leaving, so I was happy to see him do his thing. Second guy, UW kid, Misha Powell. He left UW and also went to Miami. He had himself an interception. If you know this kid's journey, started off at O'Day High School, walked on to the University of Washington, earned a scholarship, and now look at him, probably going to play in the NFL one day. Another guy, we got Martinez, the running back from Oregon State, who also went to Miami. What's up with Miami? What y'all giving these kids? If you need a mentor, I can be bought. All right. Martinez only had 65 yards, but added a dynamic to that offense that was great. And then the last one, Josh Kelly, who left WSU. He was a receiver, went over to Texas Tech, who they're playing this week. And he had 10 for 156. You got to start supporting these kids like people follow Kyrie around to his 10 teams, James Harden to his teams, LeBron to his. This is just college football. So if you find a guy that you love and you support, follow him to his school. You ain't got to root for the school, but you can root for the individual.
That is it. I was going to say, that's a tough one, because rooting for the individual, completely accept. I'm going to be really upfront and almost mean. I judge people who pick up new schools constantly.
Nah, that's crazy.
No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know people who constantly do that, and I always do a little bit of an eye roll and judge them, and I know it's mean. But second down. While watching college football, you saw something you think the Hawks are capable of doing. What was it?
Man, it was great. I was watching that. Did you watch USC LSU?
No.
That was a good game, man. Feinball, what's up? What's up? SC, beat your LSU Tigers. All right, anyway. But what I saw was this play, and I'm going to try to paint the picture for you, and I just saw the personnel, and I said, this is going to work. USC, all right? They're in, and their quarterback is in shotgun. He has a running back to the left of him in a shotgun position. You have the tight end attached to the line of scrimmage to the right, Z receiver to the right. 2 receivers to the left right there. So what happens is the Z receiver goes in motion. You fake the handoff to the tight end. The Z receiver that was in motion bubbles to the left. USC quarterback rolls to the right side of the line shows a rollout. The backside, there's a screen. Boom, you drop it off to the Z receiver who bubbled, and you get money. I'm looking at that, and I go, that's JSN right there. Those are plays you have to draw up for a guy like JSN, where he is the only option. Either he's getting the football, or you're throwing it out of bounds, or you're throwing the ball in the dirt. So I liked that play, and I screenshotted it. I saved it. I've been watching it. I put guys in position. I got my OC on, and I can see the Seattle Sox doing that. Something like that at least. Just find ways to get Jason the football.
Third down. What did you notice while watching the Wazoo, OSU, UW, and USC games that encouraged you about the future of football?
Man, the future of football is back. There was a time when you watched college football and it was just spread them out, throw it across the yard because our guys are better. I'm watching these programs, WSU, Oregon State, University of Washington, and SC, and they're all playing pro-style football. They got tight ends attached to the line of scrimmage. They're going under center. They're playing with a fullback at times. There's play action. My school, WSU, had 2 running backs in the backfield at one point and a tight end. I'm looking at these offenses, and I love it. Granted, they still spread it out and go 3-by-1, 2-by-2 are empty, but they're getting these quarterbacks ready for the next level, and they're understanding that, look, man, you got to have a good tight end in this game. You have to. You look at all the successful teams, the teams that are good every single year, they have top tight ends, and I think the evolution of that position is allowing these lower levels, or just say college teams, to be more comfortable putting that tight end out there, knowing that we can have them attached to the line of scrimmage. We can also spread them out. So I'm watching those games. I'm feeling the offense. I like the play action. It's pro-style football, but they also reserve the right to get in that shotgun, spread them out, and throw it down the field.
Fourth down. What crazy take did you have about Mateer on Talkin' Cougars, which airs on Root, that's off to a great start?
Yeah, it was wild.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
You know, I mean, I'm 1-0 so far. And what it was is I said, look, if Mateer can start off the season 4-0, 4-1, then he should be in the Heisman candidate talk. My man went 11 of 17, 352 for 5 touchdowns, and he also ran in a score as well. I get it. It was against Portland State. Okay, you're supposed to do that. But if he didn't do that, I would be concerned. So, no, this is just big ups to John Mateer, because they said it was a quarterback battle. I think us Cougs knew John was going to be the guy. But you needed to see him go out and dominate against a inferior opponent, and that's exactly what he did. Oh, he looked good. He might be one of the most mobile quarterbacks in college football right now. He had, a 55-yard run for a touchdown. My man is looking good. So far, Mateer, you got one Heisman vote over here.
So far you're right. So far you're really right. We're going to talk a bit more about UW and Wazoo's performances coming up at 11:45. So in 20 minutes, we're going to do kind of like a wrap-up of the first weekend of college football. Not week 0, but first week 1 of college football, with a look at the Washington schools, and then we'll step outside of Washington just a little bit. FSU, very interesting start to the season. I think one of the best performances of week 1 was not from a Washington school and was just like jaw-dropping. So we'll talk about some of that coming up again at 11:45. We've also got an update on some interesting conference stuff when it comes to this. If you were here for headline rewrites, you already heard it, but we'll catch you up. You are listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. As a reminder, the Dugout, all Mariners, starts at 1. So we're doing What I Need to Know at 12:45. You can get your questions in any time, a little over an hour away. 866-979-3776. Again, 866-979-3776. We've got Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams joining us at noon. So after we recap a weekend of college football, we're going to take a look ahead to the NFC West, check in on the 49ers, the Rams, Cardinals, see what it lies ahead for the Seattle Seahawks, and also get some of Eric's thoughts on where the Seahawks are right now. Curious as to whether or not he agrees with Peter Schrager that Mike McDonald could be a favorite for Coach of the Year. First up, coming up in the timeline, you asked me whether I'd seen the LSU game, and I answered truthfully that I didn't. It wasn't one of the games that I was watching. I watched a couple others. However, I did see Brian Kelly post-game, and he put on quite the performance. If you guys missed it, we got you covered next.
It's a new era for the Seahawks.
I can't wait to see what this defense looks like.
He is the complete opposite in so many ways of what we've seen.
It's a work in progress since the day you walk in the door of where we're at, where we want to go.
And Seattle Sports will take you behind the scenes as the team gets ready for the 2024 season.
I feel like this game was very explosive.
A defense where everybody knows what they're doing, and so that frees you up to just fly around the field and go make plays.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? Well, it's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own, and it is more than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff. My streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. And Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through September 21st, you can get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply, requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
All right, sports fans, let's talk stats. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And of those men, many will experience bladder leaks. That's why Depend is partnering with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage getting screened. Because if caught early, prostate cancer is up to 99% treatable. I like those odds. Depend is also donating to prostate cancer research for select purchases now through November. Learn more at Depend.com. From September through November, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation. For Depend Shields, guards, real fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000. Void in Mississippi.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Motorcycle accident cases require a thorough investigation by a team of experienced legal professionals if they have any chance of being successful. Insurance companies, juries, and even the police tend to assume the worst about motorcycle riders. Get help from an experienced team of attorneys that have successfully resolved hundreds of motorcycle accident cases over the past 30 years. Call Davis Law Group for a free legal consultation or get my free book on motorcycle accidents at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
You know, being out of camp this time of year, you get to see some absolute physical specimens. Guys that have trained all summer to be in the best shape of their life. Now, most of us don't have that kind of time, energy, resources, or genetics to look like some of those guys, but we can certainly look our very best with a little help from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's Mike Salk here, and I used that program last year to lose 35 pounds. That's right. Lost 35 pounds, and it only took me 8 weeks to do it. Guess what? It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that painful either. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic devised a plan that was right for me. I ate real food that you buy at the grocery store. I lost weight, and I looked and felt my very best. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss. So schedule a free, no-obligation consultation right now by going to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Just see if it's right for you. 425-588-0080 is the number, or eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Again, 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline. Speaking of hearing about some of these stories, you might have heard Brian Kelly's performance. He put on quite the show in his postgame comments following LSU's opening week loss to USC.
We had some guys played their butts off tonight, and we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach them better, because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous. And crazy.
USC outlasted number 13 LSU, final score 27-20. That coming in, obviously, just the final few moments of the game. I gotta say, I love a good screaming rant Brian Kelly's vibe to me is that of someone like a politician trying to sound angry. Is that mean?
Nah.
Because I think he's genuinely disappointed.
I believe him. I got the email from y'all, and I looked at the interview, I go, well, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
I believe it. I think that it comes off as corny, and it comes off as...
Because he's corny, and that's okay.
That's who he is.
It's who he is.
Like when Russell Wilson, for some reason, the Unlimited popped up on my timeline again. Unlimited. I go, he's corny as heck. That is Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at this. If I'm a player, I'm laughing like Coach tripping. Look at Coach up there, man.
Yep.
Calm down, Coach. But I believe him. Like that's who he is. I think he was genuinely mad. I think him pounding the table with his fists was real. I think that we've just seen him change his voice, do whatever to get recruits, and we look at him and go, he might be a little bit of a cornball, and he probably is. But I think that was authentic. I think it came off as just a little weird.
Do you think that the accent was authentic when he talked about
Nah.
my family?
family.
My family.
But you know what happens? Like, when I'm in a professional setting, my voice sounds different. When I'm with my boys, my kids be like, Dad,
Yeah.
I didn't know you talk like that. I go, yeah, it's different. It's different. You know, so I don't know if he's been in that setting long
say
enough
Brian Kelly's code
to
switching?
adjust like that. But his code switch was a little different.
It was real. It was real. Next up, Miami QB and former Coug Cam Ward still managed to show the old Pac-12 some love after the Hurricanes went into the swamp and blew out Florida on Saturday.
I don't know if this was the loudest environment you ever played
It wasn't. I played at USC.
Okay.
USC wasn't packed, but it was louder than this. I played at Oregon, it was louder than this. The Pac-12 gets misspoken for. The Pac-12, that's where I believe real football is played. Meach Powell even come from Washington. Washington was one of the loudest environments I played. I would say advice to the fans: if you're gonna be loud, you have to be loud when we're huddling. You can't just be loud once we break the huddle. By that time, it's no point. You know, we hear the play, we communicated already. But you know, it was a good atmosphere to play in, and you know, I'm just excited that we were able to get a victory.
You had love for Cam in 4-down territory. Hearing the cut itself, I was like, yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
And for my delegation, when he said real, you know what he wanted to say after that, but he couldn't because he's professional. Yeah, and I'm happy that Cam it's almost like he broke up with us, but it was like, look, man, this was best for both of us.
Yeah.
You know I gotta go this way. You know I have to do this, and I'm gonna show love. Let's be real. I played the loudest stadiums I played in, played Auburn at Auburn, Wisconsin at Wisconsin. But Husky Stadium, when it's going, it is going. I cannot hear anything. It feels like the ground is shaking. That's real. When Autzen Stadium is going, it is going. You cannot hear nothing. So I'm glad he showed some love, and I think it was genuine. I don't think he's just saying that.
I agree.
I think that it was genuine.
Well, and I also like the audacity. This always happens. The audacity of people in the SEC, sometimes, Big Ten, ACC, sometimes they'll do it. They act like the Pac-12 has never, like that it's a different world of college football.
Yeah.
And to an extent, in some ways it is. Like, y'all have never seen college football like you will in Alabama or at Auburn. You know what I mean? Like, it is a different world to some extent. But they act like it's like, you probably never played in front of loud fans, right? Like, what? Who are you talking about?
I played at UCLA with 80,000. I played at SC with 90,000. Come on now. It's in a different place right now because of schools like Stanford, Wazoo. We did not show up. Y'all better get your butts to this game. This next game at Martin Stadium, y'all better get there, man. Texas Tech, we're going to salute Michael Leach. I've been in stadiums. I mentioned Autzen and all that stuff. It gets loud, man. Don't get it twisted. There's just been a couple down seasons for a couple of venues like Stanford and maybe Cal.
Florida head coach Billy Napier appeared to have taken a shot at his school's own fans when asked how they plan to bounce back in week 2.
We got to go to work on the football part, and I think we got to become a more consistent team, and we have to execute better. And if we can focus on those things and not necessarily what some guy in his basement saying in rural Central Florida on social media, then we got a chance to get better, right?
So
he's saying don't listen to Paul Feinbaum is what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Don't listen to him. I'm playing Paul. I'm coming at you, but everyone has this week, so why not?
So why not? But I like the idea of like, hey, we need to focus on us and not pay attention to what Gators fans in their basements have to say. Honestly, fans might get their feelings hurt once in a while when like a team seems to push back against them in any way. But it's well within the rights of that team and that coach to be like, don't listen to this dude. Also, this guy is telling you what he thinks you should do. He's never spent a moment in your shoes. And the second that you mess up a game, he'll say, we should get rid of you.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't sweating with you in the summertime during conditioning drills. He ain't been lifting weights with you in the weight room, watching film with you. No, you appreciate the love and support from fans, but you got to keep it in perspective. Some of these people are irrational thinkers, and they just yell things and say things and go to work on Monday like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these young men and women got to go out there and compete. So, yeah, I think that has to be approached. Don't even listen to the praise that much because you know they'll turn on you in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the other thing is you got to kind of keep distance from like even the good stuff because it's not from someone who actually knows what you're doing. And I know people mean well for the most part. Like they really try to reach out and support and show love.
Show love back, but keep it in perspective.
Next up on the same weekend, the Big Ten Network was unavailable on Comcast.
Oh, really?
DirecTV pulled ESPN and ABC from their cable packages amidst a dispute with Disney about carrier fees. College football fans are just getting screwed over in the process of whatever deals are or are not happening between these carriers.
Look how the turns have tabled. It's Michael Scott. It's a joke for you light me up on the text lines, all right? I found a little bit of joy in this. Meanwhile, I'm working for CW this past weekend, and almost everyone can see those games. Anyone who wanted to see that game could see that game. Oregon State versus Idaho State, and then obviously WSU against Portland State. This it brought me a little bit of joy. It's not going to last for long. They're going to figure something out and get her done. But for the Washington States and the Oregon State and the people who support them, this had to be a little win for them.
It is really frustrating, though. Obviously, the newer piece is DirecTV pulling ESPN and ABC from cable packages amidst that dispute. But even within the irony, the very clear irony of the Big Ten Network being unavailable on Comcast for Husky and Oregon fans, it's still really frustrating. Like there's part of you that laughs and there's part of you that sees the irony in it, but it is so frustrating because it means that people who do dedicate a lot of time, a lot of love, a lot of care are already spending money on Xfinity or DirecTV, and cable packages are not cheap, can now not watch the games that they bought that package for.
Can't relate. Can't relate. I feel nothing. I feel no sympathy for anybody who couldn't watch their team play because that's why you left us in the pack. They're not going to be able to see us play. They couldn't see you play last week either, but don't trip. I'm working for ESPN this weekend, so I'm going to chill a little bit.
I feel it. But like to me, yo, Washington and Oregon left a sinking ship.
They sunk the ship.
That's it. The ship was sinking. It was sinking. It was already sinking.
They could have patched it up.
Incorrect.
Yes.
You know what happened? What happened is that Larry Scott punched holes in the ship, made this big problem himself. You were all looking past UCLA and USC because they're so beautiful.
We could handle that. We could handle them leaving. We couldn't handle UW and Oregon leaving too.
Why was it then on Oregon and Washington to save a sinking ship and risk losing money?
Because of 100 years of tradition. That's why.
I'm looking at USC and UCLA going, you guys started this.
Now look at you now.
You guys did it.
Now look at you now. Now they couldn't see your games the other day.
Well,
also, now you're not even getting the full cut of the TV package.
Yo, if we're really going to be pointing to stuff, though, the Pac-12 was done and is sinking. I hate that it's over, too. I really do.
Nah.
And could Oregon and Washington have feasibly stayed and saved the conference? Yes.
Yeah.
I am not disagreeing with that point.
It's the way
I'm not
you did
disagreeing
it.
with
It's
that
the
point.
way you did it, too. At media days. Oh, yeah, we're here to stay. We're going to work this thing out. 2 days later, I'm at Disneyland getting news that y'all leaving now. Just be real. Y'all should have been like, we out of here.
First of all, you're mad we ruined your vacation. Just admit it. Secondly, so we're just going to ignore that USC was also like a big impetus behind all of this,
They didn't lie about it, though.
But they started it. But they started it.
But you could have said, you could have been, there goes my hero. We needed you. You left us.
At that point, it was already falling apart. It was sinking.
Hey, I still got love for everybody, though.
I have love. I do, too. And I have love for and respect for Oregon State and Washington State. And, like, it is what it is. But I feel like we all forgot that USC and UCLA jumped ship. And then everyone looked at Oregon and Washington and was like, what are you guys going to save us? And, like.
They said they were, though. If they never said that they were going to stick in, that's the difference.
Fair. I will concede that point. We're going to stick with college football, a wrap-up of what we loved and hated from week one coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Mike McDonald's got his first game on Sunday.
Anything we say positive, for some reason, always feels like you're dissing the previous regime or whatever, and it's just not that way.
No, just they're very different.
They're very different. The connectedness of scheme, the connectedness of 11 playing together, and we've said that from day one. This scheme is different. This scheme demands that all 11 know what their responsibilities are and truly playing together. That is the secret sauce.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I have a handful of stories that really affected me personally in my career and how I handled employees. Lee Johnson, coming out of his office as a customer, asked me where the service department is. And I was like, yeah, go to the end of the hall, go up the stairs, go across the breezeway, open a door, go to the left. You want Chevy, go to the right. You want Mazda? Because I didn't even have enough time to say, hey, what kind of car do you have? Here comes Lee, and it's like, oh, ma'am, come with me. Let me show you. And then have him come back and not dress me down is just almost like with that fatherly disappointment of like, hey, that's not how we take care of people. I mean, the right way is to walk her down to the stairs, walk her up the stairs, open the door for her, go over, across the way, open up that door, introduce her to somebody. So she's comfortable, she's made it to the right place, and that we value the business. What you did was you made it seem like she was an inconvenience to you. Customers are the purpose of our day.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Hey, college students, want to save more on groceries? Every dollar counts, so my friends at Safeway are helping by giving all university, community, and technical college students an extra 5% savings every day. It's called Safeway for You. Sign up is free and easy. Safeway for You members get extra savings with perks, points, and free products. For all the details and terms, visit Safeway.com/FOR and the letter U. That's Safeway.com/for-you.
Washington's own Joel McHale is live at Muckleshoot Event Center October 3rd. Experience Joel's hilarious trademark snark from hit shows like Animal Control and Community, live on stage October 3rd. Get tickets right now at MuckleshootCasino.com. Muckleshoot.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Two things you're looking at when shopping for a new car or SUV: choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett. You'll be satisfied with both. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock. And right now they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? Well, they also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 9/22/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Seattle knows how to hustle.
There he goes! 40, 30!
Every day, we prepare, we grind, and we go to work.
Still on the move! He could go!
Because we live for these moments.
Touchdown! Seahawks!
This city lives for Sunday. Get your tickets for Seahawks game days at Lumen Field and experience what this city lives for. Visit Seahawks.com today.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are getting back to the NFL in 15 minutes, beginning with a look around the rest of the NFC West to figure out what lies ahead for the Seahawks this season. Before we do a quick college football wrap-up, Wazoo drops 70, Huskies dominate Weber State, and what's up with FSU? That's where we're getting started. I'm going to start, though, with Washington. Huskies beat Weber State 35-3. It sounds like Steve Belichick got a game ball in his very first game as defensive coordinator, limiting an opponent to under a touchdown. The real story, though, obviously Jonah Coleman, who followed Jed Fish here, 16 carries, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns. You're watching injuries in the tight end group, but otherwise, Bump, what stands out about this win for the Huskies?
It was needed, right? It's a new regime. We're looking at this first game like we're looking at Mike McDonald in his first game. You want to see some stuff, and the question with this team is going to be offensively, can they be explosive? I don't care who they played. Playing Weber State, which is a good football team in the Big Sky. Remember, UW lost to Montana one year. Like, you cannot sleep on anybody. So you needed to see this offense come out and look like they had an identity. And you mentioned the young man Coleman. He is that identity. He has 16 carries, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But let's not sleep on Rodgers either. 20 for 26, 250 yards, and 1 touchdown through the air. I mentioned in 4-down territory, I loved the pro style that we're seeing, the understanding, the tight ends, the shifts, the drags going across the field. It looked good, man. This is why you schedule these games against a team like Weber State. They're good enough to catch you slipping if you underestimate them or you don't execute, but they allow you to instill confidence in what you're doing. It's so essential that the very first week you come out and your team executes and believes in your philosophy, and they start to really buy into what you're saying. I'm sure the dogs have bought into what their coach is saying already, but to go out week 1 and to see it in a game type situation is crucial. So no, I thought UW did exactly what they were supposed to do and look good doing it.
Will Rogers was 20-26, 250 for a touchdown. He did not turn the ball over via interception, which was good. Had some brief moments there, taking a pretty costly sack for a second, but otherwise nothing to complain about in a game in which you didn't even allow a touchdown from your opponent, and they didn't enter the red zone until the third quarter. So good game overall for the Huskies. Let's jump over to the Cougs, dropping 70 on Portland State. Now, Portland State, one of the worst teams in the Big Sky. Still, dropping 70 is major. Those are video game numbers. What'd you make about the Cougs?
It was the explosive plays. I believe they had 3 or 4 plays over 50 yards, 2 plays over 30 yards, another 2 over 20. And it was the simple stuff. You're catching a hitch, turning upfield and going. You're taking a slant 30 to 40 yards. Mateer taking a run 54 yards. They got a young running back in Parker who had 148 total yards through the air and on the ground, who is going to be really good. You're supposed to score points against Portland State, a team that couldn't get after the quarterback last year, didn't sack Mateer once. This is what you're supposed to do. The concerning part is that Portland put up 30 points. Portland should not put up 30 points.
No.
So there's some things that Wazoo needs to fix, but offensively, they got her done. Defensively, they made some plays. You have Stephen Hall, who had a 100-yard interception for a touchdown. Always fun to see. So you did what you're supposed to do. If there's anything I was concerned about, 30's too many. Maybe 14 to 20, but not 30.
Okay, so moving forward for Washington, we're looking to see, can Will Rogers, in addition to just doing his job, add a bit more explosive stuff. And can the defense continue to look stellar? For Washington, we love the offense. We love what they're able to do. Lots of explosive plays. Can they keep it going? And more importantly, can they stop the run moving forward? Okay, let's bounce around. I mentioned, let me know if you have any comment on this one, just what's up with FSU. Just a weird drop-off from last year to this one. We aren't going to spend a long time. No one really cares here about Florida State on the other side of the country, but if you're looking at just storylines in college football, that's one that should be on your radar. Yeah, that Florida State drop-off is crazy, man. They get the transfer DJ from Oregon State, and you feel like he's going to be the guy to kind of, continue the run that Florida State was on last year, and he just doesn't look comfortable in that offense. It's unfortunate. 13-0 last year. You've already lost 3 for Florida State. I got a player that I was looking at, not necessarily I guess a team, but the kid from USC, Kyron Hudson, he only had 5 receptions for 83 yards, but he had 2 of the biggest and best catches I've seen in a while. He had a one-hander late in the game, goes up with one hand, snatches that thing, and then to kind of seal the game, he caught a football on the sideline where he could have got lit up, and he held onto the football, and it was just a big play. Numbers aren't going to wow you, but in those moments, those were huge moments. So Kyron Hudson, receiver number 10 out of USC, pay attention to that young man. I think he's going to be a baller. God, did you say 300? Or how many final yards did he end up with? Oh, he didn't have much. Oh, okay. No, he only had like 83. It was there's 2 big catches. Oh, who was I thinking of where you were like? Kid from Arizona. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so my player that caught my eye outside of these 2 schools, Ashton Jonty out of Boise State. 6 touchdowns, 267 rushing yards, 13.3 yards per carry. He was kind of the player that everyone's watching for when it comes to Boise State. Boise State, their fans really excited about this season, their chances at getting into an expanded playoff picture. They should be a very good team, even if it's one with question marks. That he delivered immediately on all the hype surrounding him is very cool. I also cannot get over the fact that he had 4 touchdowns and then added 2 more. It blows my mind. It was ridiculous. 6 touchdowns. Video game type stuff. And my crew's got to see him in a couple weeks, so y'all better fix some things in that box. My last one is the kid you were talking about, McMillan. 10 receptions, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns for the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down. God. His quarterback was 19 of 31 for 422 yards. This man caught 304 of them things. That's insane. It's ridiculous. That means that Fafita just dropped back and found him and said, I'm just tossing it up to my boy. And as Curtis mentioned, I don't know if it was on air or during the break, that UW couldn't grab him. Fish is over here. They wanted him. They were loyal. Him, Fafita, they were loyal. So I hope Arizona alumni, y'all better be taking care of these boys. They need a car. Yeah. They need a one of those saunas people are getting now. Hook them up. Hook these dudes up. They need a sauna. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app, taking a look around the NFC West with Eric Williams next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Brady Henderson, the hitman himself of ESPN.com.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
Who the captain's going to be for the Seahawks?
Yeah, I would imagine Geno is a no-brainer. Almost every team's starting quarterback is a captain, and probably would go Tyler Lockett.
All right, how about defensively? Because Bobby and Quandre are both gone.
Yeah, Uchenna Nwosu, no-brainer.
That was my first guess.
Yep. And then I think Julian Love would similarly be a no-brainer.
That's my second guess.
Yeah. Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing.
Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Did you know about the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program? You can get an $80 benefit card to spend at local farmers markets. Use it to buy seasonal fruits, vegetables, and honey. Just bring your new SFMNP card with you when you shop. When you make a purchase, the grower will scan your card. Then you'll confirm the purchase with your PIN.
You're all set. Enjoy those tomatoes.
Thank you, I will. Find participating markets, local contacts, and more info at seniorfmnp.com. That's seniorfmnp.com.
It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
At the UPS Store, we understand the importance of a first impression. That's why we're here to help you put your best foot forward and be unstoppable with our printing services. With high-quality paper stock options, banners, business cards, venues, and more, we make sure your small business stands out and your message reaches the masses. After all, we're the one-stop prints that pop store. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.
It's time to turn it up at T-Mobile Park. The next Mariners Fireworks Night, presented by T-Mobile, is Friday, September 13th. And it's going to be a dance party you won't want to miss. After the Mariners take on the Rangers at 7:10, stick around for an epic show curated by world-famous DJ Diplo. Get ready to drop to the beat as we light up the sky with a fireworks spectacular that'll have you on your feet.
Swing and a miss. A missile up above the zone. Brian Woo's had it cooking tonight in Seattle.
So grab your crew and head to Mariners.com to lock in your tickets for the hottest party in town. Plus, check out all that's happening at T-Mobile Park during the final stretch of the regular season, including a Luis Castillo Funko Pop giveaway September 14th and a marquee matchup against the Yankees September 17th through 19th.
That baby's way gone! Big cow! Another 2-home run performance!
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Have you tried the dining district at the Bellevue Collection? Grab lunch with friends. Meet up for happy hour, and stay for dinner and beyond. You can sample international flavors and local favorites from talented chefs. Try a new cocktail on a rooftop bar or watch the game with friends. And explore the lively nightlife scene. The Dining District at the Bellevue Collection, where your taste adventure begins. Learn more at BellevueCollection.com/dining district.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
After extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers are ending another holdout. The team will reportedly finalize a new deal with left tackle Trent Williams. That makes Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick the last remaining holdout in the NFL. He hasn't stepped foot in the Jets facility since being acquired via trade. Interesting matchup for these two teams, who meet on Monday night, September 9th.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Taking a look around the NFL coming up at 12:30 and taking your questions at 12:45 for what I need to know. You can get those in anytime over the next hour to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Again, get those questions in, 866-979-3776. Quickly, the Seattle Seahawks home opener is this weekend. Today's the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks take on the Broncos in person. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, simply text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Let's take a look around the NFC West with Fox Sports reporter Eric Williams joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Hey, how y'all doing? Thanks for having me, and happy week 1 of the NFL season.
Oh, my God. It's finally here, Eric. We are so excited. And honestly, I mean, what an envious position you're in with 4 really fascinating teams, right? I mean, very interesting off seasons for all 4. Some really fascinating new faces, including a head coach in the case of Seattle. But I'm going to actually get started in San Francisco, where there is reports of a new contract and obviously the closing of another. 2 holdouts appear to have come to an end, Brandon Ayuk, and it looks like Trent Williams staying there. What can you tell us about the latest there?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Brandon Ayuk finally is putting pen to paper after months of drama in the offseason, and getting that contract done. Looks like $30 million a year, which is kind of about what I think folks that were following it expected. So I'm sure that they're happy to have that behind them and have Brandon out there, contributing when they play the Jets on Monday Night Football, and then Trent Williams is doing his Walter Jones impersonation. Decided he didn't want to go to training camp apparently, but would like some more money, and certainly deserving. He's probably still the best left tackle in the game, even though he's 36 years old. Looks like he'll be finalizing a deal. Details have yet to be reported, but I would imagine it's going to be a little bit of a bump from the $21 million that he's expected to make in total compensation once the year begins in week 1. And so, even though you had all the drama and all the talk, about that team in the offseason, looks like they're going to be, at the most part, at full strength going into that week 1 game. McCaffrey returns to practice. He's been dealing with a calf injury during training camp, but looks like he'll be ready to go.
I was talking to Stacy about week 1, and I go, man, week 1 can fool you, man. Your team could come out and look great, and you can buy into it, or they could lose and look horrible, and you can say, oh, my God, what are we doing? What team do you think has the opportunity to deceive their fan base the most in the first couple weeks when it comes to the NFC West?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to go with the Rams. Because I think the Rams might struggle this weekend, to be honest. Matthew Stafford was dealing with a hamstring issue and had to miss some practices, and they're kind of juggling things around up front. They have their left tackle, Larrick Jackson, has a 2-game suspension, so he's not going to be available. I would imagine Joe Noteboom's going to be the guy that replaces him there, who, Joe's played some football and has, played left tackle in the past, so at least they have some continuity there. But Rob Havenstein, their right tackle, also might not play. He's been dealing with a lower leg injury, and they're talking about moving Jonah Jackson from left guard to center, and Jonas was their big free agent signing that they got from the Lions. Stephen Avila had been playing center throughout camp. He played left guard last year as a rookie. So all that to say that there might be some issues in protection in Detroit, and if that's the case and Stafford has to move around and he's already dealing with a hamstring, you're worried about, future injuries when you have a quarterback that's 36 years old. And so I'm somewhat concerned at what their offense is going to look like going on the road against a team that's expected to compete for a Super Bowl in the Lions.
Eric, I'm really not sure what to expect for the Cardinals. I don't know that I've bought into any idea that they'll be challenging, for a high seed or really making a push in the NFC. But they also do have some nice weapons. Obviously, one of the best offensive weapons from the draft. Kyler Murray is still and can still be really special. What do you see with the Cardinals?
Yeah, that's my upset pick for the week. I think they have a chance to go on the road to Buffalo and win that game. Buffalo's had some changes on offense, most notably, Stephon Diggs now being in Houston, and so they're trying to figure out who their playmakers are going to be on offense. If you're going to play in Buffalo, this is the time to go up there because it's September and you don't have to deal with weather issues. And then I think people are just, like you said, kind of sleeping on the Cardinals because they have some playmakers on offense. And it's not just Marvin Harrison. It's James Conner, it's Trey McBride at tight end. And when I was in camp, the guys that looked good when I watched were Michael Wilson, their second-year pro out of Stanford, and Greg Dortch, who just kind of made plays all over the place, their slot guy. So, again, I think they'll be able to move the football. The key with the Cardinals is, are they going to be able to create pass rush? They lost their best pass rusher for the season in B.J. Ojulari to a knee injury. Darius Robinson is also dealing with injury issues and will not be available. He was their second first-round pick. And so I think for them is are they going to be able to generate consistent pass rush so they can get off the field defensively?
We saw a list of quarterbacks, like their rankings and their tiers when it came to the starters in the league. And Geno was put, where was he at, Stacey? Like 16, 17 or something like that?
For Sando, he's like 18.
Yeah, he was below guys like Baker Mayfield or whatnot. And obviously here we love Geno. Well, most of us do. You always find some people who don't like you. But we love him out here. And we felt like he either he's not being evaluated correctly or just hasn't gotten the attention of some experts across the country.
Sure.
How do you assess Geno and his potential for this year?
I think he has the potential to have a big year just because of that offense. I think really kind of fits his skill set as a downfield passer. So I expect the numbers to be up, in terms of taking more risk. Pete Carroll usually didn't like to take a lot of risks offensively. He wanted to run the football, let the defense do the work. So I think Geno will be freed up a little bit more. Certainly they have the skill set on the perimeter to get it done, with Jackson Smith and Jigba coming back in second season. Still have Lockett, still have DJ Metcalf, still have Noah Fant at tight end, two-headed monster at running back, and Walker and Charbonnet. Obviously, the issue for the Seahawks is offensive line. Are they going to be able to hold up both in pass protection, and are they going to be able to get consistent push in the run game? But I think if the offensive line just plays at an average level, I expect Geno to have a good year, and I expect that offense to be amongst the top 10 in the league.
Hey, Seahawks, obviously a new head coach with Mike McDonald. Eric, if he were to reach out to you and say, Eric, I know you've covered, some other new head coaches here in the NFC West, but also have watched head coaches, take their jobs and fail. And if he were to say, do you have any advice for what not to do, just from an outside perspective, from what you've seen as a reporter, like what hasn't worked or what has kind of, bitten guys in terms of when they start, what would you tell them?
I would say let your coaches coach and don't try to do their jobs and just kind of, be the CEO of the team. And I think that's going to be a little hard for him to do because he's going to be calling the defense, which he should because that's his expertise. But it's also kind of that in-game management stuff and making sure that you're creating enough time so you can make those decisions that you need to make, which are critical in terms of wins and losses in the league. And then I think during the week, too, you also want to make sure that you don't put too much on your plate as a head coach where you're not able to kind of step back and see the macro big picture. So if I were to tell him anything, and again, he shouldn't be calling me, he should probably be calling other people. But if he did, it would just, less is more and make sure that you're delegating and allowing the experts that you hire as positional coaches to do their individual jobs.
The Brandon Ayuk situation was awkward because it sounds like the offer he accepted was the one that's been on the table for a long time. Yet he's still showing up to practice. You got some people saying, well, he just didn't want to practice. And I felt, Eric, that eventually it was going to get done. Is there any concern about him not being in football shape? Because you can run your sprints, you can run your routes on there, but there's nothing like being out there with your guys and getting guys going. Any concerns with you when it comes to Ayuk being ready to play in a football game?
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on this, Bump. I mean, you played and kind of the level of fitness that you need to go out there and play 60, 70 plays. I don't think he'll be able to go out there and play like he would normally play, which is like 90-something% of the snaps. Yeah. So I do think they're going to have to be careful and kind of limit him to 50, 60% of the snaps. But I will say guys, playing now versus 10, 15 years ago, they're in shape year-round. They probably do too much during the off-season in terms of training. So he'll be physically ready. He won't be in football shape in terms of, snap in, snap out, that kind of thing, because the only way you can do that is by playing football. But I think on a limited basis, he could definitely still make an impact for them on offense.
Hey, taking a look around the conference as a whole, last year one of the storylines was, oh, God, all the best quarterbacks are in the AFC, and the NFC is just going to be down. And obviously, the 49ers look phenomenal. But overall, there are lots of great young quarterbacks. What a change an offseason makes, Eric, because there are some NFC teams that added some high-level rookies, and there's also just some really, really intriguing storylines. Is there a team around the conference that maybe we weren't paying a lot of attention to that you might be watching just a little more closely?
Yeah, for me, it's the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. I think he's a perfect fit for what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do on offense. They have a veteran head coach taking over and kind of instilling his culture and identity, which, they've been lacking there in Washington. And while their roster isn't the best, they still have dudes on both sides of the football that can make impact plays. I mean, obviously they get Bobby Wagner to go head their defense, but they're also pretty good up front with Teron Payne and Jonathan Allen. They have one of the best receivers in the league in Terry McLaurin. They get Eckler in there to go with Robinson, so they have a two-headed monster there at running back. And I just think they have a pretty good veteran coaching staff. Anthony Lynn is there in charge of their run game, who was in San Francisco before and was a head coach with the Chargers. So I think, they have a chance to maybe surprise some teams a little bit. I think they'll be buttoned up on game days and they won't give games away, which I think has been an issue with that franchise in the past.
Yeah.
Man, I was so happy that the Patriots decided not to throw Drake May out there. I go, don't ruin this young man. Like, let Jacoby hold it down for a little bit. And then once it's inevitable, you're not making the playoffs, then you can kind of throw him in there because expectations are low. But then you have, the complete opposite end of the spectrum where you have Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix going to get their starts. If you had to pick between those guys, obviously Drake May is excluded from this conversation. Who do you think is going to have the better year overall? Because for some reason, Eric, I'm leaning towards Bo Nix. Like, he might just be more NFL ready, even though he's not the most talented.
Yeah, I would say about Bo Nix, let's not get confused the preseason with regular season. Pretty vanilla in the preseason.
Eric said bump. Calm down.
Relax.
I just think that Nix is going to see some wrinkles when he goes to Seattle to play, which, it's tough to play in Seattle because of the noise and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how he handles, what McDonald's is going to throw at him defensively. But back to your question, it's hard to not pick Caleb Williams because he's so talented. Yeah. And they have so many pieces that they've surrounded him with. So it's almost like a Brock Purdy situation where he should not fail at all with everything that they've surrounded him with. That said, just watching Jaden Daniels, I've been really impressed with how he's played. And again, I know it's preseason, but he just kind of looks unfazed with everything that's happening out there. And I like his ability to run too. So if there's nothing there, he can get out. My concern with him is the concern you had with slender quarterbacks like RG3 in the past. Like, if he gets hit, how is he going to hold up? Is he going to be able to handle the kind of beating that you're going to take as an NFL quarterback? But I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels just to be a little contrarian.
Hey, some interesting holdouts all offseason, and most of them have been solved. CeeDee Lamb got his deal with Dallas. Obviously, you've covered what's going on with Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk. Jamar Chase, still no deal with Cincy, and meanwhile, Hassan Reddick hasn't even stepped foot in the Jets facility. Do you, just in your gut, as someone who knows the NFL, has covered the NFL, anticipate either gets a deal done before the start of the season? And maybe more importantly, Eric, how do you see the fortunes of either the Jets or Bengals changing if those two don't play?
Well, I think start with Cincinnati first. Jamar is such a huge part of what they do on offense. If he's not out in the field, I mean, that's a big difference to how they can attack. With Reddick, I think it's a little different because they've never seen him on the field. But the one thing I would say about that, in terms of closing out games, you want a legit edge rusher that can get after the quarterback to help you finish. And so I think that's where they're going to miss him is it's tight game. You're trying to get off the field, and you could use a guy that could give you a little bit of juice at the end of games, and now you don't have that person who you're counting on. But I think out of those two, I would think Cincinnati's going to miss Jamar the most. However, I think when you talk about missing game checks, I think most guys are going to try to figure it out because you're counting on those game checks. There's only 17, 18 of them. So I would imagine the agents are working hard to get them back into camp so they can play.
All right. He is Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams. Good stuff today, Eric. I like the take on the Cardinals against the Bills. I might steal that one for our prediction segment coming up here after you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, no problem. It's all yours, Stacey.
See ya. All right. Well, with that said, I'm going to borrow Eric's for one of our hype trains. Let's head to the station now. Not just yet. Going to stick with college football. We talked about the Cougs and Huskies in week 1, what we liked and didn't from their opening games. This has to do with these two teams facing each other. That's right. The Apple Cup is still happening, and the Cougs and Huskies will meet undefeated.
Bold.
Wow.
Very bold of you,
Are you
Stacey.
boarding this train?
Man, I'm on that thing. It's going to be the first time in 100 years that both teams met in the Apple Cup undefeated.
Crazy. We've never seen anything like this.
So it's going to be amped up. I think game day should be at that game.
Yes.
Make the trip to Seattle and make this thing work. If there's anyone who's I think is in danger of losing a game, it probably lean towards WSU. You got Texas Tech. They throw the football everywhere. They have a good running back in Tosh Brooks over there. I think that UW is more on okay, let's correct some things and keep it rolling, towards WSU is like, we got to show up and play a game. We got to show up and fight. So if anyone were to drop one, I would lean towards the Cougs a bit, though I still favor them to win this ball game. But yes, 2-0, the greatest Apple Cup of all time, and we're not wearing hand warmers and stuff while watching the game.
The Apple Cup is on Saturday, September 14th, which feels very weird to say, and these two teams will meet undefeated. Bump is boarding this train. Curtis, Washington has Eastern Michigan. As Bump pointed out, the Cougs have Texas Tech. Are they each winning their respective games?
I'm looking at that Texas Tech Wazoo game. Does the name Maverick McIver mean anything to you guys?
I mean, it's cool.
It means Top Gun and an old show my grandpa used to watch.
Is Bruce Willis and Clint Eastwood his parents?
You mentioned Top Gun. He was slinging it against Texas Tech for Abilene Christian, an FCS school. Put up 51 points, threw for 506 yards against Texas Tech on the road. They ended up losing to Texas Tech in overtime, 52-51. Abilene Christian, not a powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination. I think Texas Tech is ripe for a beatdown this weekend against the Cougs. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an undefeated Apple Cup for both sides heading into week 3. We're boarding that train.
Major, and a fully boarded train. Matt, go ahead and give me a sound for that one. I'm also boarding this train. I think we're going to see a meeting of two undefeated teams in the Apple Cup. History will be made. I love Bump saying, get college game day out. Get game day there. This is major. Next up.
That game's on Peacock, which I think people can actually watch.
I don't. Okay, I've had Peacock. I've never gotten rid of Peacock. They have.
They ain't get me.
You know, they're going to get you again.
Yeah, I'll renew. But I wasn't paying that $5 a month, though.
$5 a month. That's less than a latte.
You could pay for the whole subscription in one fell swoop. You could have paid like $60 one time.
Instead,
wouldn't have had to worry about the $5 at all.
Instead, I'm paying $10. So I'll sign up again, and then I'm out.
And then you're back for the next game.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's right back in.
Let it make sense to me. You know, I feel good about feeling like I got one over on Peacock.
I'm just saying, you won't spend $6 on Peacock, but you're going to spend like $600 on some golf, like, little thingamajig that, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Peacock doesn't bring me the joy that golf does.
Bump, are you one of those people that you don't fill up your gas tank fully because you think filling it up like a couple bucks at a time is cheaper?
Oh, no.
Even though you end up paying the exact same amount just over
Look at
the different
guys,
time.
I walk away from it while it's filling.
Yeah, I don't want to see that number.
Not the 206. UW pays for teams to beat up. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I completely miss Wazoo playing an FCS team?
Yeah.
And the worst team in the Big Sky Week 1? Yeah,
everybody does it.
God, little brother.
Is that the same guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's get to our next one here. I'm jumping to the NFL. Eric Williams, NFC West reporter, with a bold prediction that the Cards will be his upset pick for Week 1. They're hitting the road to take on the Bills. I'm going to borrow Eric's take for your second hype train. Excuse me. The Cards will surprise the Bills with a win in Week 1.
It's so hard for me to go against Josh Allen. I understand he does not have the offensive weapons he once did, but something tells me Keon Coleman might be the guy that can replace Diggs and keep things rolling. And then the tight end, I love me some Dalton Kincaid with Dawson Knox, a good little combo over there. Defensively, Rapp is over there now at the safety spot. I just don't see it. I don't think the Cardinals have been through, haven't had enough success to really go to Buffalo. They're in Buffalo, right? To go to Buffalo and say, we're going to take down the team who seems to be in the AFC championship mix every single year. I don't see it happening, but I do think that the Cardinals will be better this year.
The Cards will surprise the Bills with an upset win in Week 1. This is on the road. Curtis, are you boarding?
That's a good pick from Eric. I'm looking at the rest of the Week 1 schedule. Not a lot of other upsets out there. I think the only other one I might look at is Jacksonville against Miami. Miami's 3.5-point favorite, but it's not like Jacksonville's bereft of talent or anything. I'm going to go with Eric. I think the Cardinals do surprise the Bills. I'm boarding that train. They seem to have some good momentum down in the desert. They were highly competitive last year despite it being a step-back season. So I think they could surprise in Week 1.
I'll board this one as well. Why not? This is not an all-aboard situation, but someone said we need an all-aboard sound for when all of us decide to board a train.
I actually like that.
Me too. I think that's a good idea. Last one in here. A bit of a wild card. I mentioned that I went to I'm going to call it a retreat. Basically like a big camping getaway, like couples, singles, like big group of friends. We all went, we stayed in a giant cabin, and it was in the middle of nowhere in Leavenworth. I mean, like, go to Leavenworth, which is 3.5 hours outside of the city, and then
for you,
and then tack
not
on
for
true,
me.
and then tack on 30 minutes. Like outside of Leavenworth,
Dang.
right? That's where
Y'all
we
were
were.
deep in
Middle
there.
of nowhere, like barely any. My texts were green. So we thought that a bear knocked over the grill. This is my hype train. Bears are the scariest animal to meet in the wild.
Here's the thing with a bear. It's really big, right?
Yeah.
But, I'll lean on Mr. Nature, Matt Nelson, for this one. They don't typically attack unless they're hungry, right? I look at the big cats in the world. By the time you see them, it's too late. They already got you. Like, it's a wrap.
So you'd rather...
I'm seeing the cat and I go, I'm dead. I'm looking at a bear and saying, maybe he ain't hungry. Just don't run. You might be okay.
But you can't outrun a bear.
No, you can't. Of course not.
I'm just making sure you know that.
No, I'm going with the cat. The big cat. Cougars, jaguars, them things, man. The bear, I might be able to negotiate.
Okay, so you would rather run into a bear in the wild than run into a tiger, lion. Okay. Curtis, bears are the scariest animal to meet in the wild. Bump said, no. I would actually rather run into a grizzly bear in the woods than a tiger in the jungle. Are you boarding this train? Bears are the scariest.
I'll board that train. Yeah.
You'd rather run into anything else than a bear.
They would maul your face off. Yeah. What's that? What was that documentary? It was like Grizzly Man.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to live with bears.
Yeah, and he was
then
friends with them.
And then he died because a bear ate him.
He was cool with them.
A bear ate him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mess with bears. That
mess
is
with nothing that ain't
no,
domesticated.
thank you.
No.
Yeah, I'm boarding that train. They're the scariest animal to me in the wild.
Matt, do some research and ask your dad.
Yeah.
And also, you're not going to meet a Bengal tiger around here.
Cougars
Well, but I'm saying,
are
but
eating
it's all
people
hypothetical.
up in Snoqualmie right now.
And the wild doesn't have to mean Leavenworth. It could mean would you rather on a safari see a lion or in the woods see a bear? The scariest animal to meet in the wild.
It's the cats. I'm telling you. Y'all tripping.
I think Bump changed my mind.
You know what animal is underratedly scary that doesn't get enough pub in this?
Wolves.
Hippos are actually really scary.
Most dangerous animal out
They're
there.
fast. Plus, their jaw strength is insane.
These are your following choices. Would you rather You're in a river and you see a crocodile. You're in a river and you see a hippo. You're in the jungle and you see a tiger or lion, or you're in the woods and you see a bear. What's the single scariest?
Anything with water, you got me. We're vulnerable.
Well, yeah,
we can't move in water the way I do in land.
Yeah, that's
At least
true.
land, I think I have a chance.
I don't think I can outrun a bear. I know I can't outrun a bear, and the Revenant just stays top of mind for me in terms of terrifying moments. I think there are scarier animals, though.
Than bears.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
They'll leave you alone if they're not hungry or there are cubs in around.
Yeah, I mean, that bear just wanted hot dogs, frankly.
Exactly. Left y'all alone.
I know. Taking a look around the NFL next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run. You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open. Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Hey, college students, want to save more on groceries? Every dollar counts, so my friends at Safeway are helping by giving all university, community, and technical college students an extra 5% savings every day. It's called Safeway for You. Sign up is free and easy. Safeway for You members get extra savings with perks, points, and free products. For all the details and terms, visit Safeway.com/FOR and the letter U. That's Safeway.com/for-you.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, save 10% on Georgia Pacific vinyl siding panels. Plus, save an additional 20% when you buy in bulk. And get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 9/4. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk.
Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week, Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 9/22/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
You know, being out of camp this time of year, you get to see some absolute physical specimens. Guys that have trained all summer to be in the best shape of their life. Now, most of us don't have that kind of time, energy, resources, or genetics to look like some of those guys, but we can certainly look our very best with a little help from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's Mike Salk here, and I used that program last year to lose 35 pounds. That's right, lost 35 pounds, and it only took me 8 weeks to do it. Guess what? It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that painful either. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic devised a plan that was right for me. I ate real food that you buy at the grocery store. I lost weight and I looked and felt my very best. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss. So schedule a free, no obligation consultation right now by going to eastsideweightlossklinic.com. Just see if it's right for you. 425-588-0080 is the number, or eastsideweightlossklinic.com. Again, 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossklinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We're taking a look around the NFL, but I'm going to start by moving that question about bears being the scariest animal to meet in the wild to an NFL version to kick off NFL headlines. Which NFL mascot, and I don't mean like the suited up mascot like Blitz, who's our friend and not an enemy of any kind, but what NFL mascot like the Lions, Bears, would you least want to encounter in real life?
You just said it. It's
I'm
the
clarifying.
Lions.
Oh, the Lions.
Rory. It's Rory the Lion. You know who I wouldn't mind seeing at all? The Dolphins mascot, TD. Dolphins help.
Yeah.
If you're in trouble, they might help.
That's true.
You.
I feel like dolphins are friends to people, and that's canon.
Yeah, but this is Rory the Lion.
Yeah. Curtis, Matt, NFL mascot, NFL icon that you would least want to meet in the wild.
The Texans. I live in Washington for a reason.
Afraid to see a Texan? Curtis.
The Jags would be pretty scary.
Yeah, I think both you and Bump are on the no big cats, please scenario. I'm going to co-sign those and say I don't want anything to do with that.
Captain Fear can get these hands, though. Buccaneers hands.
I'm not worried about that. He's only got one eye. You know what I mean?
He's a pirate.
Yeah, he's got like one hand and one eye. Exactly. Yeah, he's like low on vitamin
C. One eye, one leg.
Like what's he? That guy's on the brink of death. Let's be real. That guy's been lost at sea.
If you checked him into a hospital, he would not check out.
If you threw a single gold coin, he would turn and run.
We need you to stay overnight. We gotta stay here.
Run all these tests.
Sir, we need an IV.
You have every disease
you
known to man.
Criminally dehydrated. I think I could beat him in a fight.
You are alcoholic. Yeah, you're everything.
He's drunk right now. The Seahawks have signed former Vikings quarterback Jaren Hall to their practice squad. Obviously, you need to get a quarterback on there. It's not a move that's going to add to any kind of real competition, but good news. Keep that thing going.
No, I like it. Jaren Hall, he was out of BYU, I believe, when it felt like Russell was on his way out. People were looking at him as a comp. He even wore number 3, the same number as Russell Wilson. No, I like it. I mean, he's a practice squad guy. You never know. Maybe he develops into something, but not a bad move.
Yeah. 425 says Buccaneers, they'll make you walk the plank into an ocean of sharks. With
We're talking
what?
one Buccaneer.
One Buccaneer.
We're not talking.
I know the name is plural, but I don't see anyone else.
There's only one mascot out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Where
only
your boys
him.
at? Where they hiding?
Sean Payton was asked Monday about Bo Nix making his debut at Lumen Field, and it's clear Payton has no idea UW is also located in Seattle.
Well, it's going to be loud, and I would imagine there'd be some similarities to when Oregon goes to Washington. You know, and they're playing in front of however many thousand people. That's another loud stadium, really an hour down the road. And so we'll deal with the crowd noise this week, and this won't be the first game we play where it's loud.
Husky Stadium is 12 minutes away from Lumen Field.
Yeah, I'm trying to, what stadium is he talking about? An hour down the road. He's thinking like a ShoWare Center over in Kent.
He's thinking like French Field in Kent.
Yeah,
He
what are we
might
doing?
just have no concept of it in general, and maybe he's just saying, no, even then I'd be like, just, a little further down the road. That's
Yeah.
how I describe a non-specific
Seattle.
distance. Yeah, I'd say, not that far
Not
away.
that far, right down the.
An
you
hour
should
down the
say
road.
right down the street for anything. It can be like
Yeah.
miles.
Yes.
It's right down the street.
Yeah, exactly. Portland, it's right down the street.
Yeah.
When you consider, like, if you look at the whole world.
Mm-hmm. The world, Craig.
The world, Craig. 12 minutes away. Sean Payton's going to be.
Basically an hour.
Yeah. Someone said maybe he's thinking post-game traffic.
Now, that'd be accurate.
Yeah, it's like it's taking a long time. Let's see. 49ers, God, this was a crazy story. 49ers first-round pick Ricky Pearsall survived a shooting while on his way to an autograph signing in San Francisco. Apparently, it was a 17-year-old offender who shot Pearsall in the chest. Pearsall thankfully was able to walk away from the scene into an ambulance. He'll miss at least the first 4 games of the season, though.
Man, trying to take that Rolex off his
God,
wrist.
it's so
apparently.
sad, the whole thing.
That's unfortunate, man. I've been to downtown San Francisco plenty of times, and like most downtowns, it gets sketchy in certain areas, and that's unfortunate, man. That's why growing up in LA, we tucked our chains. We didn't wear nothing flashy until we showed up to the safe place we were going. And then we brought it all out, man. So it's you got to move different. I don't know where he's from. I don't know if he's used to the city life like that, but people recognize you. You got some jewelry on. You attract attention. I'm just glad he walked away from that.
It could be thinking like, well, I'm in downtown and I'm going from just an event where there are people all around, like a PR staff, and I'm just heading over to this shopping center. Like it.
No, he was at the bank.
Oh.
He was at the bank.
Oh, I thought he was walking to a shop. See, that's the thing is I'm like, I could easily make this mistake of just thinking like it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I believe, because he was
with a
wearing
team
a
of
Rolex.
people. Yeah.
That Rolex,
and a
man.
17-year-old is the one who now ruined his entire life.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, throw that away. Cincinnati's Jamar Chase and Jets' Hassan Reddick are both continuing their holdouts. Earlier, I reported that Hassan Reddick was the final remaining one, which was I misreported that. Jamar Chase is at the facility, he's just not practicing. So both technically still holding out. Reddick, though, has not reported at all. He's completely absent from New York's facility.
What does his fines look like right now? I mean, I know that Jamar Chase is exempt from those fines because he's working off his rookie deal. Hassan Reddick is not. I don't get it. This is game week. You got to be ready to go at this point. That's unfortunate. I don't know how to wrap my mind around the Reddick situation because I've never had that much money in my life, and he's willing to risk it. I was just watching Le'Veon Bell highlights the other day. He was magical. Missed that 1 year, was never the same. I think it's easier to bounce back on defense, obviously, but this is a weird situation. As far as Jamar Chase, at least he's around, but this is game week. As a football player, I just want to get back out there because I love playing the game.
Yeah, I take a, thought back to what Eric Williams said, and we said, who could be most impactful? He was like, obviously Chase, is central to what they want to do offensively. He's your wide receiver. He's one of your very best players. The Jets can be a good team and a good defense without Hassan Reddick, but with where they want to go and with closing out games and the way they want to close them out, you need that elite edge rusher.
Yeah, I think the Jets are better off than the Cincinnati Bengals would be without Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hassan Reddick has accumulated $2.25 million in mandatory fines.
You think he's missing game checks?
Gracious.
You genuinely think that either him or Jamar would miss a single game check?
I think Hassan would.
That's stupid.
If he's not even in the building right now.
Respectfully, because I understand being like, I need leverage. Like, I'm looking out for myself, and I respect it. That's totally fine. You are costing yourself. It has been made very clear if your team, which is under a ton of pressure with Aaron Rodgers to try to win a Super Bowl now, if they are willing to enter the season without you playing, they don't care.
Look, if you're really toxic, you just show up and play like crap so they don't put you on the field. You still get that check. If you really want to do it.
If you wanted to be real messy, Hassan should listen to us.
He should.
We're just going to call a segment Bad Advice, where we give horribly toxic advice.
I mean, is that bad advice, though? He still gets paid. His reputation
being a horrible
is ruined.
Teammate. Yeah,
but he still gets paid.
It's What I Need to Know coming your way next. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Brady Henderson, the hitman himself of ESPN.com.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
Who are the captains going to be for the Seahawks?
Yeah, I would imagine Geno is a no-brainer. Almost every team's starting quarterback is a captain, and probably would go Tyler Lockett.
All right, how about defensively? Because Bobby and Quandre are both gone.
Yeah, Uchenna Nwosu, no-brainer.
That was my first guess.
Yep. And then I think Julian Love would similarly be a no-brainer.
That's my second guess.
Yeah.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear-out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Bring your whole crew to the game with the Mariners Suite at T-Mobile Park. Whether you're planning a special birthday party for friends and family or a company outing for up to 400 coworkers, there's no better spot for an unforgettable experience. Enjoy the suite life with premium catering, VIP parking, private Skybridge entry, and more. Plus, season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve your suite today at mariners.com/suites.
And the pitch up the middle, JP! Wow! What a play! Game over!
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Two things you're looking at when shopping for a new car or SUV: choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett. You'll be satisfied with both. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock. And right now, they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? Well, they also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
This Thursday's Spotlight at Waterfront Park performance is Lady A Productions. Experience an evening of blues, soul, and gospel, September 5th at Waterfront Park on Pier 62. This free event is open to all ages, September 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. Lady A's performances are a fusion of high energy, profound storytelling, and messages woven with love and encouragement. Seattle's new waterfront is being built for you. Come and enjoy it. Full schedule of events at waterfrontparkseattle.org. Brought to you by Friends of Waterfront Park.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy
weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. The Mac and Jack's text line is 866-979-3776. Again, 866-979-3776. What was your favorite Cougar game to be part of in your career, Bump, says the 509.
My first Apple Cup. I believe we lost like 5 or 6 straight before that. So my freshman year when we won at home, that's when I realized how much it meant to Coug Nation. Will Durden being carried off the field, the smell of alcohol as the students rushed the field. It was fun.
What year was that?
04.
Oh, okay. So you guys were you there in 08? No. Okay.
7 was my last one.
Dang, that was a tough one.
You guys won that one?
In 08?
In 08?
No.
No?
No. Wasn't that one?
Okay.
Yep.
At our house.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember. Let's see, 425. What I need to know. For someone who doesn't watch much of or understand the workings of baseball, why isn't there a salary cap for MLB teams? Wouldn't this make the league more competitive and add more parity? Seems like it would make more sense and give different teams more opportunity to make the playoffs, thus adding more fans for those teams. Because let's face it, bandwagon fans are real and add more revenue to the league as a whole. I don't know. Baseball's weird.
Players unions never agreeing to that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I think it's natural to think it's like a selfish billionaire owner thing, but it's also a players union very much wanting to drive up prices or bidding wars for player services.
Yeah, they're like, nah, I want to get as much money as I can.
Yeah.
And I want the homies to get it too.
And frankly, if the NFLPA could control it, there wouldn't be a salary cap in football either.
Right.
Because they'd want teams to go out there competing to pay Patrick Mahomes more than the Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, to answer the question, because it is against the incentives.
Because that's the way it's been done for 100 years.
What I'd love to see, and this would be against the incentives of owners, would be a salary floor.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
That would be where
Of
owners would
$100
push
million.
back. Seriously, and again, the Mariners would be over that, but you'd have a more competitive league, and you wouldn't have owners essentially holding teams hostage.
Or you're just paying someone who's garbage way too much money.
Well, then you need to go out there and compete for better players. So yeah, I think players control the ceiling, owners want a lower floor. What I need to know. How many passing yards for Geno Sunday?
252.
It's very specific.
2 touchdowns.
Very
21
specific.
of 27.
It's a pretty efficient day.
Yeah.
I believe.
What I need to know, have you ever gone river rafting?
Never. Probably won't.
No.
That I have no interest in that
Water,
whatsoever.
it's too powerful, and I don't trust it.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's simply not. I had a hard time being convinced to go float a river.
A lazy river? Sure.
I didn't know it would be lazy. I thought it would be like whitewater rafting in inner tubes.
I can float a river. That's fine.
Oh, floating a river's great. I'm very pro floating a river
You
now.
can typically stand up in the floating river too.
Yeah.
You know, so you're good.
Yeah. If it's an activity you can do while drinking, I trust it. What I
Come
need
play golf with me.
I'm scared. What I need to know, how much of an impact will K9 and Sharbs have in Grubb's new offense? Shout out from OKC.
Big impact. You got to be able to run the rock. And K9, I think, has the potential to be a top 5 or 6 running back in this game. Zach Charbonnet is the perfect change up to his game. I think that they're going to be vital. Like a 2-yard gain is going to be important to this offense when it comes to setting things up.
Yeah. 253. Bro, how does Curtis know so much?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What I need to know, biggest fantasy bust this year.
Ooh.
It's a good one.
Patrick Mahomes.
What?
Draft him too early.
Okay, if you draft him too early.
Yeah, dropped him too early. He could have the same year he had last year. Like, Pat Mahomes is the only quarterback that goes in the first round.
Okay, I got Josh Allen in round 3. Did I make a mistake?
Nah, I think you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. The running back depth was not great.
It wasn't.
It really wasn't. It went Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, maybe you get 1 or 2 more guys, drop off.
You got D. Henry, too. I think D. Henry.
D. Henry, yeah, but he was gone.
Yeah.
I had pick 8. So I had to go wide receiver first. Then I went running back. Then I went Josh Allen.
One of my drafts was during the Oregon State game that I was covering. So for the first half of the draft, I was on auto draft. I got Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, and one other number
was
one
auto
receiver
draft?
on auto draft.
You lucked out into.
Who are you
I don't
playing
know.
with?
It was the
Right?
it was
Is
a
it
money
4 people?
We got a bid. You know, it was one of those drafts too.
It was an auction draft?
Yeah.
I'm so upset. I've never
Crazy.
won my fantasy draft. And you know how they do the grades after? They gave me a C.
It's all right.
I was offended.
C's get degrees.
Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. Let's see what I need to know. Which former Mariners hitter from the last 10 years would you most want on the team now, assuming they never aged? From the last 10 years?
Last 10.
It's either Robbie Cano or Nelson Cruz, right?
Yeah, which is funny
has
because
to
most
be.
people think Robbie Cano was just like the worst possible thing that they did, but
Dude was awesome in his 5
he's
years here.
great. And I'm
Can't,
cool
can't
with him
say he
juicing,
wasn't
man.
trying when
Yeah.
he took steroids. That man cared. You
yeah.
don't take steroids if you don't care.
When was Cruz's final year?
I think the same season, 2018.
So yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
one of those two for sure.
Easy.
And honestly, like, God, please go back out there and spend. Please you cannot continue to be like, let's find Colton Wong 2.0. Like, let's find a 35-year-old who could be a good leader.
You think they will?
I think that
they'll
there
change
will
it
be.
up?
I would love for them to try something else. I'm not saying I have a solution. I'm not qualified. I'm not a GM. I am not in a baseball front office, nor should anyone hire me to do that. I would be spending like an unlimited credit card on awful selections.
Got a black
like,
card.
I would be horrible. I'd be the worst GM in baseball. But I think it's obvious that what they've been doing has not produced results. You have 1 playoff appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So what needs to change? I don't know. I frankly don't, but something. Let's see. What's the best set of golf clubs if you're on a budget, says the 360.
Get some nice ones that are used. Get like irons that are 3 years old that would have cost $1,500, but now you get them for 5 or 6. Like, go get used. If you are just beginning, you're not really into the game like that, get used clubs.
You could probably go to like a thrift store and put together a full set of clubs for like $30.
I wouldn't go to a thrift store.
How
How about like play it against sports
Play
or
it again,
something?
yeah, play it again. Yeah, for sure. Thrift store, you'll get some from 1962 out there looking raggedy on the course. Have some dignity. Go to play it again.
Looking like Arnold Palmer.
Right. You got actual wood on your clubs. Like, nah, we're past that.
509, what I need to know for Bump. What was the most amazing sports experience and your most embarrassing.
Ooh, amazing. My first touchdown against Oregon, a punt to the house. Most embarrassing was probably my fumble against Oregon State when I was going to score a touchdown. Yeah.
All right, you guys, we aren't going anywhere, but we are going all Mariners. Shannon Dreyer joining us next. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Jeff Passan, good morning.
You win with star players. As much as pitching is important, we know now that it is a flawed philosophy. And the teams that score runs are almost all making the playoffs this year. And the teams that have great ERAs, like the Mariners, the Giants, the Cardinals even, are very hit and miss. So it's not one of those things that it's like there's a direct line from great pitching to the postseason.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Key here is employee satisfaction. There is no expectation for customer satisfaction if the people that work with us don't feel taken care of and supported and loved. I'm proud of the Lee Johnson Auto family. I'm proud of our stores. And I need everybody to share in that mindset because it makes a better experience for the customer. It also makes it a better place to work. Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me. Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
The Cult, live at Muckleshoot Casino Resort, September 23rd. Gather your Cult crew for one of the best live music events in Washington this year. The Cult takes the stage at Muckleshoot Event Center, Monday, September 23rd. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com.
Did you know about the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program? You can get an $80 benefit card to spend at local farmers markets. Use it to buy seasonal fruits, vegetables, and honey. Just bring your new SFMNP card with you when you shop. When you make a purchase, the grower will scan your card. Then you'll confirm the purchase with your PIN.
You're all set. Enjoy those tomatoes.
Thank you, I will. Find participating markets, local contacts, and more info at seniorfmnp.com. That's seniorfmnp.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear-out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
If you're injured in the state of Washington, here's what matters. Who represents you matters. The experience of their staff matters. Their investigation team and track record of success matters. Davis Law Group was founded in Seattle and has been winning cases for more than 30 years. We know Washington State, we know our courts, and we know how to deliver the highest level of client satisfaction. And that's what matters. Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
After extending wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers are ending another holdout. The team will reportedly finalize a new deal with left tackle Trent Williams. Williams has no more guaranteed money on his deal, though he does have 3 years remaining. As a result, he'd sat out all of training camp, no longer. That makes Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick the last remaining holdout in the league. Reddick hasn't stepped foot in the Jets facility since being acquired via trade. The Jets and 49ers face off for Monday Night Football on September 9th.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is The Dugout. Every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy. Inside access to the clubhouse from Shannon Drayer on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Mariners insider Shannon Drayer getting us started with The Dugout. Hey, Shannon, how's it going?
Well, you know, it's a beautiful day here in San Francisco.
That's one way to start it, right? As we start looking around going, I guess I'm grateful it's a beautiful September day. Unfortunately, obviously, this team really struggling offensively all year, certainly down the stretch. There's still time left to play, and we still all will be watching these games. But, Shannon, I wanted to start instead with a question for you about offensive philosophy. It's something that Jeff Passan was talking about earlier this morning on With Brock and Salk, and I guess I just wanted to throw a clarifying question. We all throw around offensive philosophy all the time when we talk about this team, but what is their offensive philosophy?
Well, I think the term that we usually hear for it is dominate the zone, which was control the zone, which was basically look for your pitch and put a good swing on it. I mean, it's not anything too complicated. It depends on what your lineup makeup is. There are teams that are out there that will have guys in specific spots that have very specific jobs. And this is actually something that Edgar Martinez talked about on the day that he took over was, you know, what he wants to see from the guys is if you are a contact hitter, be a contact hitter. If you're a line drive hitter, be a line drive hitter. If you're a home run hitter, be a home run hitter. And then he kind of laughs, so we don't really have those. But it is not go out there and try and do everything or try and be the big guy if you're not the big guy. And if you have enough guys that are in their roles that can do what they are supposed to do and know who they are, and you stack them up accordingly, like you're going to have the big guy be more in the middle of the lineup, you're going to have the guys that can get on base be more at the top and the bottom, then that's kind of an offensive philosophy that guys are going to go in and be who they are, and hopefully you have the right personnel to cover that and to score runs. Or you can have an offensive philosophy where you're going to just really gear in on the fastball. And sometimes you'll see more swing and miss if they don't get those fastballs, or you'll see more strikeouts because they're not offering at it. You might be a team that can do more on the bases and have more of a running game, and you'll do that in certain situations. You're not just going to run wild. So I think it is just basically your philosophy is your expectations of your hitters.
Hey, Shannon, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm searching for answers right now. I'll take anything, so enlighten me a little bit. In other sports, we look at some teams and say, well, that's just not a good matchup. You know, their line is better than their line, or their quarterback, or whatever. Sometimes the matchup just doesn't work for a team, and you expect another team to win. What is it about the matchup with the Angels and the Mariners this year? Is it deeper than that? I'm just searching for answers. Shannon, what you got for me?
It's not. I mean, I think that you've got a couple of big problems. Is that A, you're not a great offensive team, and B, you're worse on the road. And so I think that if you miss your home wins on a team like that, it just even amplifies it more against that particular team. I think the other thing is this is a very fastball-centric team as far as the offense goes. That's what they want to see. And I think there are two things. If you have pitching staffs that can go out there and throw them the breaking stuff or the off-speed stuff, that can cause them trouble, and that's nothing new this year. We saw that last year as well. But also, if you have different looks that you haven't really seen, that can be a problem too. And I think that when you see the Angels, quite often because of where they are in their development, you're going to see a lot of pitchers that you don't know, that you haven't seen before, and that can kind of tie them in knots too. I do think that they're better in general against pitchers that they have seen, that they have faced. You are always going to have a scouting report, and that's going to help. But if you've actually faced that pitcher, for this group in particular, that helps even more. So I think it's just kind of a number of factors that come into play with that, and all the other problems that they bring into it with. They're good on the road and just generally have struggled with the bat this year.
I don't want to look too far ahead because, again, there is still season left to play, and we're still going to be watching a race to the playoffs for all of these teams. But that being said, Shannon, I think it's become clear to a lot of people what they might feel is the Mariners' most important change to make this offseason. To you, when you look at this club, what's the most important thing that either they change or that they add?
Well, I'm going to need time on that, to be honest with you, because I think everything has got to be dissected. They're not where they want to be right now, and I'm not just saying in this year. I'm saying in their overall plan. When they tore this down 6 years ago, I believe, they were supposed to be a spot where they are sustaining winning, and they are making the postseason on a regular basis. So it doesn't mean every year, which is why I really didn't have too much problem with them missing it last year, especially coming off their first time. But they've got to, be in that conversation. And when I look at it this year, and the more that I look back, I don't think it was real. And I kind of should have known that, because one of the ways that I look at teams throughout baseball is I don't buy into too much what you see in the first half. And you look no further than the Houston Astros, who were a totally different team. It's things happen in the second half. And I don't mean, after the All-Star break. I mean, really in the last 3 months, the last 2.5 months. You can make up ground. And I think so much focus, and probably rightfully so, you had to get off to a better start, is put on that start, but you've got to continue to build throughout the year. Be it your players get into their season and put up better numbers, be it players that are injured earlier in spring training come back, or be it you add players. You've got to have a better second half than your first half. As important as that start is, your second half has got to be better. So for me, I think they've got to look at that. I think they've got to look at, are we, clearly, why are hitters coming here and struggling? Is it something with us and how we're teaching it? Is it the players that we're bringing in? Is it the ballpark? I mean, that's a lot to go through. And then, I don't think anybody's going to want to hear this, but you got to take a closer look at the pitching too, because their home road splits. Both starters and relievers are pretty dramatic. And then you look at that road record, and they are contributing to that too. So to point to one area, I can't get there yet. I mean, it's going to be multiple areas. And I just think that, this season, I'm not saying that you have to tear it down, but I think you have to give it as good a look as you did before you did that. You've got to figure out why this is not working right now.
Hey, Shannon, we knew that for this team to make a push for the playoffs, players like Julio Rodriguez needed to step up. He's on a 5-game hit streak with 7 RBIs in those 5 games, only struck out 3 times. How do you assess his performance as of late?
I'm optimistic about that, and that's going to, I've got a post up on Seattle Sports right now, and I did look at some of the things that I'm talking about. And, one of the things, it's really hard to, in a 7-game span, say anything, or a 10-game or even a 20-game span. And, what's happened under Dan Wilson, what's happened under Edgar Martinez, too soon. But I think that you can look at histories and put it all together, and you can look at who's working with him. And I really feel like, Edgar Martinez is an interim hitting coach. But if he can get Julio sorted out, that's going to be one heck of a contribution that he has made. And I do look at what Julio's doing, and I pair what he's doing now with something that he's actually been doing for a while. You think back to the first few months of the season where his strikeout rate was just horrific. it hasn't been horrific. And I'm not just talking about 10 days or a week or even 30 days. It's been a little while for him. He's had the strikeout rate down in the 20s and the low 20s for at least a month and a half. I haven't gone too far back on that, but I think all of a sudden the strikeout is coming out of his game, which is huge because he's a player. If you can get that, and if that is a trend that you see more of, I do think he's a player that you are going to allow a good number of strikeouts, not the 30%, but a good number. But if he's down in the lower 20s, that's a plus because everything else is there. You've just got to get there. So I look at what he is doing and that we are seeing him, and this is where the sample is too small because we've seen it before this year, but we are starting to see him pull the ball in the air, which is what you want and which is where his most production is going to come from. We've seen that in the last week, in the last 10 days. If that continues and we don't see the strikeouts, kind of like we haven't for a little while now, and he does continue his walks, I think that bodes very well for next year, provided he can carry that over. I think he can kind of figure out and see what he can be and have something to go back to. And it shouldn't be too much of a surprise for him because in the minor leagues, and it's not the same quality, but he can handle most pitches, and he didn't strike out a ton. So what we might be watching right now is further development with him. And with the tools he has and where his starting point is, that's a very good thing.
Hey, Shannon, I'm sure if you asked Cal Raleigh what he thought about his season, he'd tell you it's not one that he was especially proud of. I feel like players are just going to be hard on themselves no matter what. That being said, leading the club in home runs and will probably once again lead catchers in home runs. That'll be for a third consecutive season. Where have you seen him develop most this year? And also, moving forward, what's his future look like with this club in terms of when they're going to have to start talking about negotiations?
Yesterday,
True.
I've blocked him up a long time ago, and it's never that easy. But you don't have to take too close a look at him to know that, that's the guy that we want here a very long time. And then that's where things get complicated after that. So, yes, absolutely. You want Cal here for a very, very long time. As far as his development goes this year, he's balanced at the plate. Yeah, last year it's not so much a strong side or a better side for him at the plate. He has really gone to work on both swings and also how to maintain both swings. So it's been great to see that he's had power from both sides. He's been able to, do what he does from both the left and the right side. And I think that's a huge piece of development for him while doing everything else that he does. So I think Cal just being Cal is great. The one thing that you would look to, if you want to, I will take everything that he is right now. I'm great with that. And I think probably the thing that he would look at is just more consistency, that when he does get into a slump, he shortens that up. And we're seeing that right now. The hits aren't coming right now. He's got a home run here or there. He's striking out more than he does, but we've seen those pockets within the season. Just make him smaller. And that's about the only thing that I can look at him. His defense has been good. He's an Iron Man back there. His presence in the clubhouse, on the field, is absolutely top-notch. It's a lot to ask for from – it's funny, somebody called him the veteran catcher on an opposing broadcast the other day, and you think it's actually only been a few years, but he's always had a veteranness to him, and I'm not going to say he's an old catcher by any means, but he certainly has, I guess, earned that, and he absolutely is a team leader, but it just still sounded funny to hear them say veteran catcher, but he is certainly, one of the great catchers in the league, and still one of the young catchers, which is a good thing for the Mariners, and you hope that he is somebody that will be here for a long, long time.
She is Mariners insider Shannon Drayer, kind enough to join us for the Dugout. Read her latest at seattlesports.com. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Good night, guys.
Mariners shortstop Leo Rivas joining us next.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the Denver Broncos September 8th.
Looking to the end zone, fires a dart in the back of the end zone. DK, does he have his feet in it?
Just open the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab at the bottom of the right corner, and enter to win for your chance to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
Do it every day, August 28th through September 3rd. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Holy catfish!
Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? Well, it's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own, and it is more than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. And Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through September 21st, you can get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply, requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
Hey, babe. Yeah, the bank password is moneybags, but a $ instead of the S.
Mr. Moneybags here is about to get his identity stolen.
Wait, what?
If he used 1Password, he can share logins, credit cards, and other important information with just his wife, not the whole store. Sir, your card's been declined.
Again?
Security is complicated. 1Password isn't. And right now, get a free 2-week trial at 1Password.com. That's 2 free weeks at 1Password.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
You are listening to The Dugout, a Mariners hour from 1 to 2. Leo Rivas was going to join us, but he got caught up with some work. So instead, we're going to take a listen to someone who's going to be working with Leo and the rest of this staff on how to improve their hitting. Edgar Martinez joined Bump and I last week and had plenty to say about how hitting has changed between when he played and today.
We didn't look into those numbers. We only look into average, walks, moving runners, and run scores. Other than that, we didn't think about any other numbers. I think today it's very different in that sense. When I played, it was a lot simpler. I think it was easier for us because we didn't have to worry about any of those numbers that everybody's giving so much emphasis. It was very simple in the past.
We had less to think about, says Edgar. And honestly, I don't think that's a knock on how players are or implying in any way that players can't take in information today. But I think Edgar's just saying it was made simple for us.
You know what's funny? I'm listening to Edgar and then to your comment saying it was simpler for us. Tom Brady's mad that the game is simpler. He's a GOAT.
Tom needs to calm down.
Edgar's mad that it's more complicated. He's one of the greatest hitters we've seen here. It's crazy how perspective kind of changes.
Or preference.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. But I think just going off of what Edgar said right there makes me think that that's what he's doing with these ball players now, just trying to simplify the game. Like, don't think too much about this and that. Where's the ball? Where should you hit it? Where are your hands? Swing the dang bat and let's go. I went to Top Golf with my wife on Sunday when I got back into town, and she's asking me all this advice. Well, what about that one? I go, just hit the ball. Just hit it. Then I'll give you one thing to think about. Then you just go ahead and hit it, because if I give you too much, you're going to be everywhere. So I think that is the approach that should be taken with this team that's been fed God knows what information over the past 130-something games. So, yeah, that's refreshing.
Yeah, I think when we're trying to piece apart and isolate the specific issues that this team is facing, it feels like, first of all, there are a lot of things. And hitting philosophy might be different from overall team building philosophy when we talk about issues. For instance, it sounds like, based on what Edgar had to say, that his preference as a hitter was less information and stats that mattered to him. So maybe players would benefit in today's organization, maybe in today's game. I doubt the Mariners are unique, by just having less to think about. That's one issue. The other is about team building and philosophical issues with team building. Edgar is not someone who's going to comment on that, nor is he involved with that. I do think, though, it sure seems like in addition to guys not being able to hit, maybe because there's an influx of a lot of information, there's also, did you get the right guys together? Did you get all the right guys at the right time? Did you get the right people in the building? And that's something that this team's going to have to step aside and figure out this offseason.
That's always part of it. The right group of people can do some great things. You can have greatness in a group, but if they can't work together, if they can't vibe off each other's energy and move in the right direction, then it doesn't matter. I look at teams, I'm looking at Baltimore and I'm looking at the Guardians right now. What information are they getting over there? Granted, they have better players on that roster, but what information are they getting that is allowing them to play at a high level consistently? What information are the A's getting? Because they have a better slash line than the Mariners. You got to compare and contrast at some point, but it's a whole bunch of things going down here. You got to have the right group of people. You have to perform at least your average level and have the right leadership in place. I think that's big.
Here's Edgar on more of what's changed in hitting from when he played.
I think the sabermetrics and some of the metrics that analysts look into and have kind of make the players kind of change the way they swing. This is more uppercut, thinking about the launch angle, and a lot of the hitters tend to be more to the pull side, and in the past was pretty much using the whole field. But the rest, it's not a lot of changes. It's just a lot more mechanics driven than what it used to be. Now it's a lot emphasis on mechanics.
Now, in some ways, teams have been able to make the most of sabermetrics and create really successful ball clubs. You could argue that sabermetrics was at the center of what the Astros front office did. A lot of those guys no longer there, but the fingerprints of the team they created is still one winning the ALCS or appearing in the ALCS for the last, 7 consecutive seasons. That was very much a front office that leaned heavily into analytics, sabermetrics, and made it work for them. They also just got really talented guys. It'll be a balancing act for the Mariners, for Edgar, for everyone involved here to figure out how do we make the most of the information we now have at our fingertips in 2024 and not weigh these guys down and change the way they're playing.
He mentioned mechanics too, right? So I'm going to lean on that. Because I think of my favorite players growing up. One, Gary Sheffield. One or two, Raul Mondesi. And then let's say Barry Bonds and Griffey. 4 totally different swings. 4 different swings. But the hands are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. They're getting through the zone. That's what I love about old school is just sometimes I don't care where you start, but this is where you need to be when it's time to make contact with the ball. And I think because Edgar is from a different era, he's going to be able to tap into that. Maybe the challenging part with Edgar is going to be how do I mix in these analytics with the mechanics that the player naturally has? Because they got to this point for a reason, doing what they're doing. How much do I want to change his mechanics? How much information do I want to give him, and who can handle what? I coached 5 or 6 different quarterbacks when I was a coordinator in high school. And I had one quarterback who was the least talented but could handle the most information. And I give him as much information as possible. He go out there and execute. I have had quarterbacks who is the most athletic and is dumb as rocks. And I give him 2 or 3 things to think about, and he is going to execute that. That's going to be the job of Edgar and the rest of this gang, right? After they give us the players, because you have no control over the players you're going to get, all right, how do I coach them up to be the best version of themselves? It seems like Service and the rest of his coaching staff haven't been able to do that with this particular group. And so far, it seems like Dan, in a short period of time, 10 games isn't a lot, his group hasn't been able to do it either. So that's why it's unfair to kind of judge Dan and what he's trying to do over these next X amount of games, because it's not enough time. But that's the real connection right there, because I love the old school way of thinking, but I also think you cannot ignore the metrics and analytics and all this stuff that you get, because it's been proven to help some guys.
Exactly. Well, and it's information that it's about what you do with information and what you choose. Like, there's nothing wrong with making it available. Like, there's nothing wrong with more information about something and more insight about something. What do you do with it, and how do you make the most of it? That's what a coaching staff is going to figure out. You mentioned, 4 different swings for 4 different players that you watched a ton of growing up. I don't mean to sound like a homer, but when you were talking about swings, I thought Griffey, and then you mentioned Griffey.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone have a better swing than Griffey?
Beautiful.
Right?
I've never seen one better than that.
I know I'm being a homer right now. I get that.
I think most
but
people
I
would
also
agree
think,
with you.
Exactly. I also think it's like fundamentally true.
Mm-hmm. Silky.
Right?
Goodness gracious.
Who had beautiful swings? Like, just someone where you were like, God, like that guy, the mechanics of what he did.
I used to love Sammy Sosa's swing. I
fluid.
love Sammy Sosa's swing. Hands were super high and straight in the back, and that kick. Yeah, I love Sammy's swing.
I feel like the follow through, just the overall finish is always what I
And then his little hop that he used to do with his arms spread after he hit a bomb. Like, that's gone. Check the bat, though. Might be corked. Check the bat.
Is there anyone that fell into the opposite category of, like, his stance was awful, but, man, he hit 300? Or maybe not 300.
You know who stance
like,
I don't protect? I don't like Shohei's that much.
That's
fair. I don't like it that much.
Curtis?
I don't know. He's got a pretty swing.
His stance, she said. I don't
Or
like.
I just
like
said,
his
like,
stance.
who's overall just
Yeah.
vibe,
I don't
like a
it.
stance. Like,
Not
there
my
are
cup of
stances
tea.
that are weird. I'm not saying Shohei's is weird, but there are stances that are weird.
It looks,
but it works
looks,
for
it looks
dudes.
funny to me for some reason. Oh,
Curtis, do you have someone where you're like, his stance is weird, or the swing is just not satisfying to me, but man, can he hit?
Weird one, I would say Fernando Tatis Jr. He's kind of like really tucked up, but that dude can.
Like, it just works.
That dude can smack it. Yeah.
the guy
all right.
from Major League, his stance was weird too.
Pedro Serrano.
Yeah, Pedro.
What was the name of the player we made up? Fernando.
Valador
Sinandro. All right. We are going to talk about what we loved and hated from a weekend of baseball at 45 after. Before we get to it, though, Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill joins us next.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the Denver Broncos September 8th.
Looking to the end zone, fires a dart in the back of the end zone. DK, does he have his feet in it?
Just open the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab at the bottom of the right corner, and enter to win for your chance to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
Do it every day, August 28th through September 3rd. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Holy catfish!
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Would you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 9/22/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
It's that time again. Sunbanks Resort in Electric City, Washington is hosting 2 upcoming music festivals. September 5th through the 8th, Sunbanks Blues and Roots Festival. And September 12th through the 15th, 2024, Sunbanks Rocks. Live music against the backdrop of Banks Lake near Grand Coulee Dam at the beautiful Sunbanks Lake Resort. Call Sunbanks Resort at 509-633-3786, extension 1 to reserve your campsite. Offering tents, RVs, and lodging from the basic cabins to houses that sleep up to 12.
You know, being out of camp this time of year, you get to see some absolute physical specimens, guys that have trained all summer to be in the best shape of their life. Now, most of us don't have that kind of time, energy, resources, or genetics to look like some of those guys, but we can certainly look our very best with a little help from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's Mike Salk here, and I used that program last year to lose 35 pounds. That's right, lost 35 pounds, and it only took me 8 weeks to do it. Guess what? It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that painful either. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic devised a plan that was right for me. I ate real food that you buy at the grocery store. I lost weight, and I looked and felt my very best. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss. So schedule a free, no-obligation consultation right now by going to eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Just see if it's right for you. 425-588-0080 is the number, or eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Again, 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. Tune in this Sunday as the Seahawks take on Denver. Kickoff at 1:05 p.m. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, proud sponsor of the Seattle Seahawks and the Northwest's biggest and best casino. No more stressing over your old vehicle. Donate it today and get it picked up tomorrow. It's the easiest service out there. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Donate today at carsforkids.org.
It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide. Because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Hello? Hey, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. Did you know we've got you fully covered?
I've taken up beekeeping. I'm always covered.
I'm talking the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage at up to half the cost.
Same honey, half the work?
Exactly.
Sweet.
Just call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
It is the Dugout, all Mariners from 1 to 2. Joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, it is Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill. Gary, how's it going?
Hello. I've been better. How are you?
Oh, no, the Mariners have too, to be fair. So that's fitting. We have seen obviously a lot of the same problems reemerge after what was 2 series wins initially under Dan Wilson, and now once again we're looking at a team that, go figure, did not solve all of its problems over a 24-hour period. They still struggle to hit. They still struggle against teams that they should match up a bit better against. Gary, I don't want to look past a season that's still in play. Like, I hate doing that, but I have to ask, what are you hoping this team takes some time to kind of re-examine this offseason?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because when I look at this team overall, I think they are great at 2 things. One of them is drafting. Mm-hmm. They're great at drafting, which is obviously huge, not only for players that are produced right now that are paying dividends, Cal Raleigh, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, but also guys coming up as well, which is great. That is not something to be overlooked, and that is enormous. And also pitching. They have it dialed in. Some of the same guys I just mentioned, and Wu and Miller, and go down the list. And, you know, Snyder and guys that you wouldn't expect to contribute at the level they are. So those 2 things they have done at an exceptional level. And I think, obviously, I think they're going to do this. I think they just have to re-examine everything when it comes to hitting, whether it's philosophy or how they teach it, or go down the entire list, review the whole thing, and also look at what they're doing in the minor leagues, because things are going well in the minor leagues. Guys are progressing in the minor leagues. Like all the guys that we talk about, whether it's Emerson or Young or Montes, go down the list, they've all taken strides forward. So why are they taking strides forward? Examine the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what they will do in the offseason. I think that's the obvious step, but I think that's what needs to happen. And it's interesting I was thinking about this. I took a long run this morning, and I was thinking about the game last night and just kind of this recent stretch. And what I find really fascinating, and the season's not lost, as you point out, but the math really works against them right now. But, I look at them at home, and they are a top 5 home team in baseball this year. They're 41-28 at home, which is great. And the teams ahead of them are all playoff teams. Conversely, on the road, they're 21-41, the exact opposite on the road. And I find it really baffling. And, I was looking at deeper, and what's interesting is the rotation has been historically good at home, second best ERA, home ERA since 2002 for all of baseball, every team. The only team better is the 16 Cubs, which won the World Series. But the rotation on the road is just middle of the pack. And this year, not historically, like middle of the pack this year. And it feels like to me, like their pitching is not as dominant on the road, and their hitting is a little better on the road, but not enough to overcome that. And so all these one-run losses are piling up. The margin for error has been so small, and the Angels are a great example. The Mariners are 5-8 against the Angels this year. They've outscored them by 17 overall, but of those 8 losses, 6 of them have been one-run losses, and a lot of those have been on the road. So it's just infuriating situation that's developing where it's kind of Jekyll and Hyde, home and road. They've been 2 different teams.
Gary, I saw you last week, and I didn't say this to you. Go Cougs. I saw you in person and didn't say it to you. So
wow.
My
you were
apologies.
busy. You had a lot going on. You're working. I was doing nothing. I was standing there
I don't know. I
looking
thought
at
you guys were always Cougs,
Never too busy for that. Anyway, it's only been 10 games for Dan Wilson. Has there been anything that stands out to you that says, "Yep, there's Dan right there. I see it"?
I don't know. It's so hard to judge, I think, in 10 games. Also, I think it's hard to judge. We don't get to see, like, the inner workings of how the clubhouse operates. So I never feel comfortable talking about that. But, yeah, I just think it's so hard to judge one way or another, especially when you're just dropped into this kind of situation where there's no time to ease into it. You're just trying to win every game possible. And that's the bottom line. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you there, especially in just a short period of time.
We have some listener questions kind of as we're going throughout the dugout. Joe says, why is the offense so bad if they're so great at drafting?
Well, I think you look at – it's a good question. A lot of their drafts have been pitching heavy, which is why we've seen – Gilbert, Kirby, that sort of thing. Cal, of course, is one of those guys. And the most recent drafts have been offensive drafts. So the next wave you're waiting on are primarily offensive players. There's a couple of pitchers in the mix, Logan Evans being one of them. But you look at the top 10, for example, they're just about all offensive players. The trick is, when are they going to be ready to contribute? Are 1 or 2 going to be ready at some point next year? More likely the year after that. And that's kind of the trick, bridging the gap. And who knows? Like, I don't know how productive they'll be at the major league level. Like, they've been really productive in the minors, and they're well thought of, not just by the Mariners, but as an industry. So it's a good question. I think it's one of timing, though. And I think a number of them have a great chance to be super productive in the majors, but it's not going to be this year, and maybe not next year. We'll have to see.
We've seen Julio figure some things out the last few games. Doesn't feel like it's going to be enough to get these guys into the playoffs, but how important is it that you start to see some performances like that from him and other guys who have struggled this year?
Well, you want to see it, obviously, because no matter what happens the rest of this year, when you're thinking about next year and talking about next year, like it's hard to imagine them reaching their potential without Julio being good. And it has been a down season for Julio. We've seen it all year, and he hasn't been alone in that. It's been a down season for JP as well. You can go down the list. Cal's had a good season, I think, offensively, but there's been too few guys, and the guys you were counting on, leaning on coming to the year haven't come through offensively. And so I think it's never too late to try and put together a run, especially when you're thinking ahead to next season and hoping Julio can bounce back and be the guy that you want him to be, and more importantly, need him to be, because the offseason task is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to just snap your fingers and put together a productive offense. And it's interesting that they're playing the A's too, because it's funny, when I watch the A's, they are who I was hoping the Mariners would turn into offensively, which I know is a statement. People are like, what, the A's? But when you look at what the A's have done since July 1st, which is, that's over 2 months, they have been top 3 WRC plus. The only 2 teams offensively that have been better have been Arizona and the Yankees. They're a top 5 slug team in that stretch. They hit home runs. They hit doubles. They slug. That's who I was hoping the Mariners would be. You look at yesterday, a great example. It wasn't a great day for them offensively. They struck out 12 times compared to the Mariners' 11 strikeouts, and we talk about strikeouts a lot. But their 5 hits were all extra base hits. A couple home runs, 3 doubles. And that was the difference in the ballgame. And that's who the A's have been offensively. That's who I was hoping the Mariners would turn into with this roster, and they didn't. So it leaves the question, what do you want to be? What's the philosophy going to be next year for them offensively?
Hey, Gary, last question for me. I'm going to get back to a similar one to Bump's question about Julio and kind of like how important it is to measure his success for the rest of the season, regardless of whether or not they make the postseason. You mentioned rightfully that so much of this team's success, because of how they've built around Julio, depends on Julio being great, that you can't really afford for him to be bad. So part of what we're hoping for is, well, Julio needs to be good because we need him to be good, frankly. But a lot of the sentiment that I see from some fans is, I think we're wrong about Julio. They paid him too soon and they kind of write him off. I can understand doing it after what's been a very frustrating season. But when you look at Julio, Gary, what do you still see from him where you go, God, if they could just unlock this, or if he could just unlock this? Like, is there still something that you see in terms of an it factor there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's incredibly talented, and we've seen it. It's not like we're just projecting something that's never happened before. Like, we have seen it happen for Julio. He has been top 5 in the MVP race. This isn't something we're just dreaming on. This is something that has actually happened. And it's a fantasy baseball thing that people say all the time. Once you display a skill, you own that skill. He has displayed all the skills you could imagine. And it is not unheard of that a guy has a bad year or an off year or a step back year. Like, that's something in baseball that happens, especially at this age. It's unfortunate because of where the Mariners are and the other guys that struggled through the lineup and how much the Mariners needed him this year. I mean, all of that makes it super unfortunate. But yeah, I am big picture. Like, I still think Julio can be great. There's nothing that has happened this year that changes my opinion of that. But I do think, okay, what are you going to do this offseason? Your adjustments last offseason didn't work. What are you going to do this offseason? I think there's questions coming into next year, and what is next year going to look like? I don't know. I mean, that's what we're all going to be watching next year. But I don't think that takes away from how talented he is and how good he can be. And he could be right back to a guy challenging for top 5 in MVP next year. I really believe that. But he's going to have to adjust too. Yeah. He's got to not only adjust, I think, physically, but adjust in how he's being attacked, because he's being attacked pretty consistently. He's going to have to combat that. And that's something that young players fight through, and sometimes it can take longer than we'd all like to adjust and fight through.
He is Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks so much, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Anytime. Talk to you soon.
You are listening to The Dugout, wrapping it up with what we loved and hated from a weekend of baseball. It's coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Mike McDonald's got his first game on Sunday.
Anything we say positive, for some reason, always feels like you're dissing the previous regime or whatever, and it's just not that way.
They're very different.
They're very different. The connectedness of scheme, the connectedness of 11 playing together, and we've said that from day one. This scheme is different. This scheme demands that all 11 know what their responsibilities are and truly playing together. That is the secret sauce.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
Justin Meek, He's the leader and caretaker of the 380 people who consider Lee Johnson their home.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? Well, it's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own, and it is more than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. And Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through September 21st, you can get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it, and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply, requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
My wife and I always loved doing everything together. Jiu-jitsu, kayaking, and intimacy was always on point. It was around my early 30s when I noticed a downward trend. Watching a lot of TV, putting on weight, and just full of self-doubt. I had tried another men's clinic with disappointing results. It's the personalized treatment I receive at Revive Men's Health that has been the complete game changer for me. I've got my energy and motivation back. I'm feeling stronger than I did in my 20s, and it made me a much better husband to my wife.
This is Dr. Andrew Elshouse of Revive Men's Health. If you're always feeling tired or moody, or your sleep is poor, you have low libido, you may be suffering from low testosterone.
Book your free T-check and exam. Call Revive Men's Health Seattle at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Uh-oh, looks like your plumbing just threw a Hail Mary into the wrong end zone. But don't worry, folks. Flowhawks Plumbing and Septic is here to intercept the mess. From busted pipes to clogged drains, we've got the plays that'll turn your plumbing fumble into a winning touchdown. Why risk a penalty? Call Flowhawks, the hometown heroes who will blitz that plumbing problem before it costs you the game. Because when your pipes are on the line, we bring our A game. Talk to the Hawk, 1-800-FLOWHAWK. That's 1-800-FLOHAWK.
I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases. I've found that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington Accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
All right, what you loved and hated from a weekend of baseball. Both of mine have to do with the Mariners, but you guys can go outside of that if you want. You're listening to The Dugout, all baseball, all Mariners from 1 to 2. What I love is this stat from Sarah Langs. She takes a look at the most home runs in his first 4 seasons for catchers with a minimum of 50 games at catcher in each season. She has Cal Raleigh at 3rd overall with 87. Pretty good company with Mike Piazza at 92, Rudy York 88, Johnny Bench 87. That is a 12-time All-Star and a Hall of Famer, obviously, with Johnny Bench. Rudy York, obviously great, played in the 30s and 40s. Cal Raleigh is putting up amazing home run numbers. I know he's inconsistent as a hitter. I know we'd love, ideally, for if he's going to be your cleanup guy, for him to have a higher average. That's not probably his true spot as a hitter. He needs more recognition across the league for what he's doing. This will be, in all likelihood, his 3rd consecutive year leading all catchers in home runs. So that's one thing I loved from the weekend.
Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on his name, please.
That's exactly right. So Cal Raleigh being in very prestigious company in terms of home runs by hitters, something I loved. Something I didn't love, getting walked off twice in 3 games.
Yeah, that one, that's pretty tough, man. That's pretty tough. But unfortunately, I cannot say that I haven't felt this feeling before. I felt it several times this year. So, my emotional walls are being built back up.
Built back, cemented, plaster over them.
They were knocked down for a while, and I said, hold on. Stop the demolition. Let's build this thing back up. What I liked from the weekend, I'm going back into the first game of the Angels. I'm going that far back.
Okay.
Is that the weekend still?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I'll count it.
Only one series or one game in 4 that have double-digit strikeouts. Only one. So good. You got a 7, you got a 6 in there, you got a 9, and boom, you got a 12 with the A's. So that's something that I didn't like. Something that I did like is just Julio hitting the ball. I mean, 5-game hitting streak right now? He's got a couple bombs. Before then, hadn't gotten yards since July 31st. Is it going to be enough? Probably not. But I think for the mental of Julio and this team moving forward, you have to see this. You have to see Julio hit the ball hard, put it in play, driving some runs. So that's good. Can I be real with y'all right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm already thinking about next year, honestly. I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at they're 6 games behind. You didn't take advantage of the Angels. You just lost 1 to the Athletics. There isn't enough. They're not giving me enough to believe that they're capable of taking advantage of a couple losses if the Astros were to go that route. But the Astros, they did lose to Cincinnati. But it's hard when they win. 5 games in a row, they're bound to drop 1 against Cincinnati. Then they got Cincinnati for 2 more, the Diamondbacks, and then Oakland and the Angels. It ain't looking good, folks. So what I'm doing now is I'm preparing. I'm getting ready for my exit interviews. I'm getting conversations and scenarios ready to talk to these guys and start preparing for the future. And I'm hoping that's what they're doing upstairs. They have to move as if they are still in this and they can come back. You never know. The numbers say there's enough games left. Who knows? But I think we've seen enough from this team and enough from the Astros to think this is going to take so much for them to get back in it. So let's just end on a positive note and start having conversations for next year.
All I can do is actively root against the Astros.
That's it.
Truly. All I have left is rooting for someone to beat the Astros, a team I hate. With truly, no, I don't want to say every fiber of my being. I'm going to just say I hate the Astros, and I have people I know who really like the Astros, and I like them less. I'm just kidding. I'll say, I really appreciated for that reason, bump your question to Gary about, hey, why does Julio's continued improvement matter even if this team is out of it? And Gary made it clear, Julio's improvement matters for this team's future, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about being right or wrong when it comes to Julio. The Mariners have rebuilt this thing with Julio at the center. If he does not continue to improve, forgive my very, not inappropriate language, but you're screwed. As an organization, you are screwed if Julio does not continue to improve. And I think there are some people that want to be right about Julio. They want Julio to be a bust and then for them to be proven right so that they're right. I've started to reevaluate, am I wrong about Julio's ceiling? And I'm open to that. I'm absolutely open. I think that he has all the talent in the world to be an MVP caliber player. We just need to see it more consistently. But more important than me wanting to be right about Julio is that it is more important that this team be right. This team already made its bet. By paying Julio, they made a bet that Julio would be great, and then they built around him as a result of that.
Yeah.
They need to be right.
Yeah. I want to go in on Fred right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, Fred.
A kook throwing in the towel. What a surprise. Fred.
Oh, no.
You can't hit me with all the nice things you say about me.
Fred.
And then come after me. All I'm saying, what have you seen to make you think they're going to turn this around? Did I say it was over? No, there's a possibility, but I'm preparing for the offseason. That's where I'm at right now. I'm not saying throw in the towel. I'm saying chances are it ain't going down. And this is the numbers game. So, Fred, you go ahead and hold out hope as much as you want, but don't knock me for looking at the numbers and saying it's going to take a lot for these guys to get back in this.
Yeah, someone said, I never thought, related to some of what we've been saying, I never thought I'd hate a team as much as the Yankees and the Patriots, but here we are. That's exactly how I feel about the Astros as well. Someone said, don't you want to, Ralph said, don't we have to root for the AL West? No. No, we do not.
No, heck no.
We do
Gross.
not. We
No.
will not be rooting for the AL West as a whole. And look, I don't want to end the dugout, and I don't want to end our day by talking about the season as though it's over. I know it feels silly to talk about anything else, and really what I'd like to focus on is how you improve and how you build on this and how you try to get better. Will I still be watching and rooting for Mariners wins? Yes. Will I still be rooting for Astros losses? Yes.
Most deaf.
And that's what I have to say about how the rest of my week is going to move
It's just
on.
a regular tomorrow's going to be your average Wednesday.
You know?
Rooting for the Mariners, rooting against the Astros.
You just got to do it. You just got to do it. And Bump, ultimately your point is that your question was the most important point of the day, of the dugout today, which was you're also watching because Julio needs to improve. And so when you're watching these games, if nothing else, you are looking for some improvement from Julio. That is the most important possible thing that can happen for this team.
Right.
So
yeah,
it'll ultimately feel too little too late, but as long as it's there, that's all you
Hey,
have.
if you're going to go out, you go out swinging.
You know?
Go out swinging.
That's
Come on.
exactly how it is. So again, to wrap up, loved those stats about Cal Raleigh. Put some respect on that man's name, MLB. He better be on that top 10 catcher list. I'm suing. If Cal is not, if I'm suing,
Commissioner
I'm calling the
Manfred.
manager. If Cal is not on a top 10 catcher list, I'm calling the manager of MLB.
man.
I don't know who that would be. I don't think it's Manfred. I'm calling the manager and I'm suing. You'll be hearing from my lawyers.
Handwritten letters.
Handwritten letters. I'm sending emails. I'm leaving Yelp reviews. And you're not going to like what it says. But
promise.
Some really, really awesome company for Cal. Meanwhile, obviously still rooting against the Astros here. And the Mariners are going to continue to see if they can jump back home and improve that record once again. All right, this has been The Dugout. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
It's a new era for the Seahawks.
Oh, my word, what a catch! What a catch by JSN!
I always expect us to go out and play hard and play physical and be clean.
I would think he's going to come in and be pretty disciplined about this is what we're doing, man.
The new season kicks off September 8th when the Hawks host the Broncos at Lumen Field.
Touchdown! Seahawks! The Seahawks defense, they awaken the crowd at Lumen Field.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast